Switzerland in the lower part of the draw, which is the same where they would face the likes of Ghana, Portugal, etc. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's coming into the very, very final moments there. But from our game, we said we had no idea how it was only 1-0 at half-time. Well, it's fair to say the Belgians put their foot down in the second half. You listen to World Cup Game Day live on talkSPORT, brought to you by Burger King Burger Buddies. Iconic winners delivered in the box every time. Order now on the BK app, and it is time for us to pick our King of the Match with Burger King.
talkSPORT's King of the Match with Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app.
Dash Dowie, I mean, I'm assuming it's a Belgian player.
It's a really tight one, you know, for me. I think that there's a couple that I've got to highlight. Trossard getting his brace, I thought, for New Zealand was brilliant. But the quality, I think you know how I'm going to say, of De Bruyne. I think just everything about him today oozed class. He got his goal, you know, he got an assist as well. And I think that everything good about Belgium came through him and then ended up resting him a little bit. But if they want to progress through this tournament, it's going to be down to Kevin De Bruyne, so he's my man of the match today.
Wonderful stuff. That was our King of the Match, all thanks to Burger King.
talkSPORT's King of the Match with Burger King Burger Buddies. Iconic winners delivered in the box every time. Order now on the BK app.
Amazingly, Iran have just hit the bar again. So they've hit the bar twice in the final 10 minutes and had a goal ruled out for offside. And I've just seen the offside replay. And to call it a toe would be an understatement. That is less than a toe offside. That is as tight as you've ever seen. You really have to ask if that's in the spirit of the rule. But according to modern refereeing, that is ruled out. Look, a huge thank you to our commentary team, Tash Dowie and Mike Saul. Brilliant stuff from them today. What an evening and morning and everything of football this has been for us. I'm going to do a very quick Scotland watch before we sign off, and we keep an eye on Egypt against Iran. So with Iran now drawing one apiece, it does mean that 7 teams are already confirmed will finish above Scotland. South Korea, Iran, Senegal, Paraguay, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Ecuador and Sweden. And even if they had got that late winner, Iran, Egypt would actually move to the top of that entire group. So what Scotland now need is for Croatia to lose to Ghana by 3 clear goals, for Algeria to lose by 2 clear goals, and for the Congo to not win tonight. A lot has to happen for Scotland to remain in this World Cup. I do think it's going to be no party for the rest of the tournament, unfortunately. Still ticking on in that Egypt-Iran game, down to nearly 9 minutes past in time added on. And finally, the final whistle goes. It finishes 1 apiece. The Iranians fall to the floor looking exhausted and devastated, but they are, as it stands, still through to the next stage of the tournament, so they will still be going on into the next round. And listen, there's going to be lots more permutation chat. There's going to be a lot more reaction to tonight. And of course, there's going to be a huge build-up to England's 3rd group stage game, because tonight, live on talkSPORT, they take on Panama. All the build-up from 8 o'clock with Adrian Durham, Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot live at the New Jersey, New York Stadium. Kick-off at 10 p.m. and it's a whole day of build-up to that. You've got Jim White and Alex Crooker doing a show live from New York this afternoon. You're going to have Jamie and Jason here this evening for a big build-up show. And to kick things off this morning, the wonderful Tony Cascarino and Max Scott bring you the weekend sports breakfast. Up next, here on talkSPORT.
Listen, I love him, and people have asked me would I take him at Arsenal 100%. But you look at the last 2 seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last 2 seasons for PSG, the 2 Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out, they win back to back. It just doesn't look well
Yeah,
Mbappe does it.
you could say that he's responsible for that. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, when you see what Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager, has changed, the way the team has changed, the unity, everybody is playing for each other,
Yeah.
they're fighting for each other, on the pitch. And that's why, in every team they've met, they're beating because of that. They have the quality, but they show, real mentality, unity all together, the togetherness, But Kylian Mbappe, I think I won't be the guy who will say that he's the one responsible for the mess at Madrid. I think if you have Mbappe in your team, you are in a good position to win something.
Yeah.
It depends as well of other players, The ego of players, in Madrid is so huge and devastating, in the dressing room.
Is he the best player on the planet?
Actually,
Yeah.
I won't say that. He's one of them.
Who is?
This season? Or you're saying?
Right now, if you're going to maybe write a list of your top 5 players, who would be number 1 best player in the world right now?
I really love Olise. He's been amazing for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And the way he entered into the national team without any pressure, and the fight that he's doing exactly what he does with Bayern Munich. He plays with freedom and with creativity, and happiness. For me, it's very important.
You think he's the best player on the planet?
I mean, Olise, you put it as a right winger, he does exactly what he wants to do. You play him as a central midfielder, he does exactly what he wants to do.
Good morning, how are we? You are listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast. I'm Max Scott, and alongside me is former Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning. Some headlines for you this morning. Uruguay are out of the World Cup after another costly error by Fernando Muslera led to defeat by Spain. Here's how it sounded on talkSPORT.
Oh, Muslera's fumbled it! A terrible mistake by the veteran goalkeeper to gift Alex Baena the lead for Spain.
We'll be looking through all the teams that have made the round of 32. Cape Verde made history at their first ever World Cup finals, finishing their group unbeaten and going through to the knockout stages. It was a takeoff in Houston for Cape Verde fans.
The Blue Sharks are in uncharted waters. Cape Verde, in their first ever World Cup, have made the round of 32.
Absolutely incredible. For me, that's got to be the story of the tournament so far. Unbelievable scenes for the second smallest nation in this World Cup. But of course, England play their final group stage game tonight against Panama, and Tuchel has warned that Panama will be coming with an underdog mentality that should not be sniffed at.
It's a complex one. We're in the role of the favourites. We have to do some stuff better, details better than against Ghana, but it's another challenge.
Yeah, we're going to be building up to that one big time this morning on the World Cup Weekend Breakfast. Don't forget to give us a call or drop us a WhatsApp this morning. Text us on 81089 or give us a bell at 03717 22 33 44. This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast live on talkSPORT. Tony, morning, mate. How are you feeling about, just generally about this heat, by the way? It's so nice to be in an air-conditioned studio.
Yeah, it's, and in some supermarkets as well, mate.
Yeah.
I played golf yesterday, hurt me back. It was really hot and quit after 15 holes. It was a bit of a hard day, but I love the hot weather. Unfortunately, I was a young boy in 1976 where it was hot. It was beautiful for literally 6 weeks, all through the summer. It was great being a kid and everything was beautiful. Now it's like the end of the world when the hot weather. Mind you, this was hotter than I can remember as a kid.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that felt.
I never want to wish away the heat, Cass, but the humidity. We got a puppy on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I had the day off Friday. It didn't sleep Thursday night. I was whining all night. I had about half an hour's sleep. I was, it's great. He's so good, all that sort of stuff. But he's got the frozen towels. He's got the big fan that we've got in the house. We've got nothing. So last night, I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning, dripping. I went and slept on the bathroom floor, Class.
Yeah, no.
Because it's got slate on it.
I tell you what, it's a great tech subject, Max, about, the heat and what has happened, because we've got a dog called Pixie who we try to put on a nice sort of blanket, keep it cool, put it in the freezer, refuses to...
Really?
Yeah, dopey as hell. This
Goose loves it.
And, she won't go on it. And my missus on Thursday morning, she slept in late, and I said, what's up? Well, you got to get up so late, because I popped out in the morning. And she said, the dog kept me up all night. It kept breathing, and she said, I gave it water, I did this, I put a fan on. She wouldn't stop. She said, I couldn't sleep, but the dog was literally looking at her, huffing and puffing away, struggling.
It is so tough. Yeah. I'm surprised I'm feeling as good as I am this morning, because I've slept probably about 7 hours in the last 3 days. Honestly, it's nuts. Yeah. So, text us 81089. How are you dealing with the heat? Give us some of your heat-related stories. Any tips, by the way? I don't know what to listen to, Cass. Do you put the fan towards the window or away from the window? Do you have cold drinks or do you have a cup of tea? Do you have a curry or do you have a salad? There was something in the mail the other day saying you should have a jalfrezi and it'll actually cool you down. I can't believe that. Give us your tips on how to keep cool. I'm just going to stay here all day in this air-conditioned studio. It's unbelievable. 81089, get in touch. But we want to build up, though.
Max, just to let you know, you don't get paid after your shift. So
I'm going to charge. I'm just going to lie down here. I'm going to lie down here while all the shows are going on this morning. But we are going to be looking back at all the World Cup action in the last group stage matches, including England, who are in action against Panama, of course, tonight. They are going to look to right some wrongs after that lacklustre performance against Ghana.
That is that. It's a point for Ghana. They're celebrating like they've won as well. They might. They've held England in the World Cup.
What a load of rubbish that was. I mean, you get your hopes up every single time with England. That simply was not good enough.
Dross. Absolute dross, mate. It was horrendous.
To be honest, England got away with it because Pickford should have been sent off.
England can and has to play better.
Let's not get too downhearted. It's not a bad result. We're not going out. We're still going to get through.
I'm not too concerned with it. I thought Ghana played well. They've done what they had to do. I think we'll comfortably beat Panama.
Left-footed effort is deflected in. It's Harry Kane. He didn't know too much about it, but there is his Panama hat-trick.
For us now, we move on and hopefully finish the group with a win on Saturday.
Yeah, England got to right some wrongs tonight live on talkSPORT as they take on Panama in that 10 p.m. kickoff. Cass, it was a disappointing performance, particularly after that second half against Croatia. We heard from Jude Bellingham speaking after the game, and he was essentially saying, this is an opportunity for England to right some wrongs. When I try and keep my sort of positive England hat on, England have traditionally got better in tournaments. Yeah. Do you see this as an opportunity for Thomas Tuchel to say, we're putting our foot right on the gas, we're taking a leaf out of the French's book, for example, who've been on some fine form, and we're absolutely going to go for it?
No, England won't be like the French, that's for sure. What will happen is I believe that England will top the group, so they'll go through. That was the ultimate goal, to be top of your group. That will happen, I'm sure. Was it disappointing for England fans? Yes, of course it was. Expectation is always on teams that have, real depth in a squad of quality players, and England have that. But they're not like the French at all. As in the French are way. The French would have broken down Ghana.
Yes,
Ghana did what they did brilliantly. They'd done so well in stopping and denying every opportunity what England could throw at them, and it wasn't particularly much. The French would have beaten Ghana, in my opinion.
That's the scary thing. I do think the French are still to be got at, but that's my worry, is that England necessarily haven't got that in the tank. But I do think that Tuchel is going to be expecting a much more offensive approach. On the other end of the pitch, though, news breaking last night, Reece James set to miss the game. Another hamstring injury. Cass, I think this brings back all of the questions we had about his defensive squad selection. If your only real right-back is Reece James, I mean, you got Jed Spence and you're using him on the left, but if your starting right-back is Reece James, you know that he's not going to make it through the tournament. If England were going to get to the final, which they might well not, right? Reece James isn't going to be a part of it because he's going to get injured. So do you think, can you see why this is frustrating for England fans and these questions about squad selection coming up again?
Well, if you want to be factual on the history of Reece James, is that he had a reconstruction of a hamstring, which was a very serious operation. And I was told very early on that it was questionable whether Reece could play 2 games a week because of the strain on his hamstring. Now, Chelsea fans will tell you, Reece has missed far too much football. He's a fantastically gifted player. That's without doubt. Would I have expected him to have to be challenged at the right back position? Yes. Yeah, I would have definitely thought that. I thought Trent should have been an option for Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that trying to be smart, but I always thought, well, you must take a Trent or another right back. So it's really Groundhog Day, isn't it?
No one's surprised about this. And I guess the disappointing thing for England fans is that ultimately this has come so early in the tournament. Thankfully, we're in a position where England are probably going to win the group, so you can rest Reece James. But the fact that he stayed in Kansas while the camp have moved to continue his recovery, I think says a lot about the situation Reece James is going to be in. And as long as England are in this tournament, they're going to be monitored. Of course, versus Panama, you would expect Jed Spence to come in, be able to do a job. We're going to have more injury updates throughout the show. We're going to hear from England correspondent Faye Carruthers, bringing us up to speed on the latest with Elliot Anderson, Marcus Rashford, Declan Rice as well. Remember, that game is live on talkSPORT tonight, 10 p.m. kickoff, presented by Adrian Durham, commentary from Jim Proudfoot and former England captain Stuart Pearce. You're listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast, World Cup Breakfast Show on talkSPORT. Next, we're going to dive into some of the action from the early hours of this morning.
What have you made of Stevie Clark? He's come under the spotlight for how he's handled the journalists. He's come under the spotlight how he's set up Scotland, certainly in the second game as well. And some people have even questioned why he's had his term there extended before this World Cup. What do you make of that?
Well, Stevie Clark, I played against him, and I know him, and he's not a Jose, you know. He's a very quiet guy, to be honest. And you have to look at what he's achieved as Scotland manager. It's brilliant, absolutely up there with the best. So. You know, people have got to realise in the press, I know the press getting on this, you know, this storm of the fans and the Tartan Army and we party and all that, but the press have got to realise, you know, where our players play, who they play for in the big league and the World League. And we've done well to get there. We could have qualified, and I don't think we will. I think Steve Clark's been frank and he's been honest. And I think he's right. There's too many permutations against us. Which is going to, again, we're going to be crying losers, you know, oh, if only. I had it in 82. You know, we should have beaten Russia in the final game. We drew 2-2 because we conceded 2 goals against New Zealand first game, 15th of June. So we knew it was going to be tough. And that was a side with Souness, Hansen, Dalglish, Strachan, etc. You know, it was a John Robertson. Great side. It's not easy when you get the big league. And, you know, the final stages, and I'm afraid we're just going to be, once again, we're just going to fall short. But it's a shame because the punters are brilliant. But I think the press have got to look at themselves and say,
get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Yeah, good morning. It's the weekend World Cup breakfast. Me, Max Scott, former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino. And we're not playing this to wind up Scotland fans, the Mission Impossible theme tune. But we're doing it because we want to wish a very happy birthday to renowned director J.J. Abrams, who turned 60, the director of this great movie. Got nothing at all to do with Scotland. Are you a fan of Mission Impossible, the film, Cass?
Well, the original Mission Impossible, when it was on as a series on TV, I used to love that. That would be like one of the shows you...
I'm not going to lie, Cass. I mean,
yeah, you're too young.
I had no idea that was even a thing. I just thought it was a film.
Yeah, it started, I'm sure it was a series on TV that ended up developing into a film.
Yeah.
And you've had loads... How many Mission Impossible...
I don't know, 5 or 6?
Is there? Whatever.
Something like that.
But it was a TV series, originally.
He does his own stunts, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Would you ever do you reckon you'd be able to do your own stunts? I reckon
well, it's
you
a bit
would.
difficult. I've never been an actor, so...
Well, if you were starting...
I'd be daft enough to do it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're big strong, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big lump.
No, I'd be daft enough to do my own stunts. I'd probably get them all wrong, but I'd be daft enough. I always like to try and be authentic and do things the way you should.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be one of them actors that say, oh, no, let someone else do it. But then you're they might do it better than you.
Nah, I think it would be best if you did it. Talking about spies, though, obviously Mission Impossible, we'd be terrible spies because we're too big. We wouldn't be able to sort of sneak round a corner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or follow someone on follow a target on the underground or on a train.
Inconspicuous you need to be, didn't you?
Yeah. Really? We are not that.
You have to look really. Well, I might look boring anyway, but you have to have sort of no one notice you.
Not with those specs, Cass.
No, but no noticing you. That's the thing, isn't it? That you want to be. No one ever thought about you as you walk past from the street, you know.
Speak about Mission Impossible. Let's do a bit of a Scotland watch, right? It wasn't good that Egypt and Iran drew. Scotland needed Egypt to beat Iran. The result would have meant that Iran just have 2 points. So it's not good. But there's 3 things that need to happen for Scotland to qualify for the knockout rounds today. Croatia take on Ghana. Scotland need Ghana to beat Croatia by at least 3 goals. In Group K, Scotland need Uzbekistan to beat or draw against DR Congo. And then in Group J, Algeria against Austria, 3 a.m. kickoff tomorrow. If all of that happens, they also need Austria to beat Algeria by 2 or more goals. It is seriously looking like Mission Impossible for Scotland. But let's have a look at some of those fixtures from last night, Cass. We'll start with a Spain 1, Uruguay 0.
Yeah.
Spain obviously won that game, but can we talk about Uruguay? I'm looking at their squad this morning. Darwin Núñez, Araujo, Bentancur, Ugarte, Federico Valverde, the captain of Real Madrid. They've got Bielsa as manager. They're out of the World Cup. It's been a shocker for them.
Yeah, and Bielsa, who Leeds fans adore, and I'm one of his biggest fans as a manager, and what he did not only at Marseille but Leeds United and other jobs. I think he was a Chile manager as well at one particular time.
Yeah.
It sounded like the whole camp was in a mess in Uruguay. Now, just to give Cape Verde, and you mentioned them, and rightly so, what an achievement, and them come second in that group.
Unbelievable.
Okay, they have got 2 draws against 2 former world champions, Uruguay and Spain.
Yeah.
That is what they've done, which is extraordinary.
Well, talk about world champions. Guess who they've got in the next round?
World champions.
Argentina.
Yeah.
The trifecta. It's unbelievable. And it's nothing more than they deserve, Cass. Like, I had my reservations about this extended World Cup tournament with so many teams in it. But the Cape Verde story almost sort of single-handedly has charmed me so much that I'm all for it. Yeah. Like, that is brilliant for them.
Yeah,
incredible.
I think you have a duty in world football to give countries with lesser opportunities or not have the infrastructure to go to a major tournament, that they get that with the new format. I like that and enjoyed that, and the benefits are someone like Cape Verde doing an extra. Imagine not getting beat by 2. I mean, Spain are a phenomenal team.
Unbelievable.
Okay, they didn't play particularly well against.
But that's credit to, a bit like Ghana. That's credit to Cape Verde for the way they played.
So fair play to them, and second spot. I mean, just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing story.
Another big result that just before we came on air over on talkSPORT 2, Egypt won, Iran won. We spoke about how that's bad for Scotland, but let's talk about Iran for a moment, because this is a group of players that are in a really difficult situation.
Yeah.
The US officials have been turfing him out of the country, not allowing him to do warm-up games, not allowing him to turn up until 16, 17 hours before kickoff. It's been really tough for them. They look good for qualification. There was a permutation that could have put them in the same quarter of the bracket as the US.
Yeah.
That's all changed because of Belgium's big win. But I think you've got to say, with the odds stacked against them, politics aside, fair play to Iran for the way that they played against all that adversity, you could say.
Well, what I would say about Iran, if they were allowed to come to the World Cup, which obviously they were, to participate, then they have to be given the same privileges as everybody else.
Yeah.
They don't make it an unequal, it's just not fair. And if, they do qualify, I think that goal difference will be enough to get them through. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah.
So fair play to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think fair play. Belgium 5, New Zealand 1. There were questions about Belgium. We'd spoken about them last week. I think you'd said how their golden generation has long gone.
Yeah, yes.
Kevin De Bruyne rolling back the years, great goal. Trossard on the score sheet.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to beat New Zealand.
Well, they're honestly, Max, Belgium are the greatest underachievers of European football, without a doubt.
Yeah.
They have had some amazing sides over the years. And what do I expect of them further down the tournament? Probably get one really tough game and get beaten in a way that just typifies Belgium.
Yeah.
As a national team. That is deja vu for them all along. Lukaku's got an amazing amount of goals for Belgium over the years. They've had some great sides, and they always fall a quarter-final hurdle, maybe semis, but they've had some amazing teams. The one, when they beat Brazil back in 2018 World Cup, when Hazard was, in their side, and that side was a really good side.
Unbelievable.
And yet, they do what they always do. They implode somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Well, as the sort of playoff bracket for the round of 32 develops throughout the morning, we'll bring that to you. That was a whistle-stop tour about what we saw last night. But next up, we're going to speak to an Asian football expert and get more on the Asian sides who've impressed in the tournament, what we can expect heading into the round of 32, and potentially any teams England might face along the journey. You're listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast here on talkSPORT.
Has been terrified all week about the Ghanaian witch doctor. He slagged off.
No, he did not.
Supposedly putting a curse on Harry Kane and England's number 9, subsequently missing a sitter. Now, thankfully, the witch doctor, of course, lifted the curse.
It's funny.
Right. Now, there was a report in The Sun that you, Emmanuel, were cursed by a witch doctor.
It's Senegal.
Ignored it
2002.
and got injured.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, before the World Cup in 2002, no, after the World Cup, actually, because we went out very quickly, during the World Cup in Asia. And when I came back, I was in holidays in south of France, and I had a friend, he was selling watches, on the beach, and he was expecting me. He was waiting for me for days. And then when he saw me, he came to me straight away and he said, I'm so happy to see you because I have something important to tell you. And I said, what is it? And he said, you have to be very careful because you have, how can I say that?
Curse?
A curse, yeah, on you. And you have to follow exactly what I'm going to tell you. And I said, what is it? He said, you have to go in Africa and you have to buy a cow and you have to kill it. And you have to follow.
Bit detailed and extreme, that one.
Yeah, but I said, listen, I understand and I really appreciate that. But this is your traditions and I'm not into it. So I won't do it. And 6 months later, I had to stop. But is it coincidental link? I won't say that,
Oh, so what happened to you? You got injured?
Yeah. And
they
cut my leg in 2 parts, so I had to stop playing football.
Did you get injured kicking a cow?
No.
One of the beautiful things about the World Cup is when someone just takes the tournament by storm. Some obvious names pop up, like James Rodriguez. Back in the 90s, there was Salvatore Schillaci. 6 of his 7 career goals for Italy came with Italia 90 as he carried the Azzurri to a 4th-place finish at home. That was the tournament we saw a 38-year-old Roger Milla go from Cameroonian squad player to dancing by the corner flag. And of course, in 98, Michael Owen, who the rest of the world hadn't really heard of before he made some Argentinian greats look like school children. And thinking about Liverpool, they probably wish the 2002 World Cup never happened, because they signed this guy off the back of his performances in Japan and South Korea. They could have had him instead, and Steven Gerrard's still crying. No player's ever taken a tournament by storm quite like Paolo Rossi, though. He served a 2-year match-fixing ban before the 1982 World Cup and did absolutely nothing in the group stage. But then, an explosion of goals. A hat-trick against Brazil, 2 in the semis against Poland, 1 in the final against West Germany. Italy won the World Cup thanks to him. He also took home the Golden Ball and the Golden Boot. He's the only player to ever win all 3 in the same tournament. The World Cup is full of fairy tales, but none compare to Rossi's 82.
Yeah, good morning. You're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Max Scott. I've got former Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino alongside me. We've got some breaking news coming from our team over in the States regarding England tonight. talkSPORT understands Bukayo Saka is set to start for England. He's obviously come off the bench in the first couple of games. He's been nursing and managing an Achilles injury. But some other news, Thomas Tuchel has hinted as well that he might well start Marcus Rashford for the ineffective so far Anthony Gordon. We understand that obviously we know Reece James is out, Jarell Quansah could be deputising for him, and also that Kobbie Mainoo is pushing for a start with some injury concerns around Elliot Anderson and Declan Rice. But the headline for you this morning, we understand Bukayo Saka is set to start for the first time in this World Cup. Some other headlines that we can bring you this morning. Belgian winger Jeremy Doku has rejoined. We've seen that in their 5-1 win over New Zealand, the national team for their 4-1 win over New Zealand. And the decision caused some widespread discourse because, of course, his wife has been pregnant, concerns about whether or not he was going to leave camp or not. Let's hear about what Troy Deeney said regarding the sort of feedback Doku received from some parts of the media.
She's an idiot, is what she is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
I think having a child is obviously the greatest thing that any human can do, in my opinion. And you know, say you're not going to cut the umbilical cord. Well, that's silly because you can do that. But also, who are you to question somebody else's desire to be there with their child and their family? I think this would have been a conversation with Belgium beforehand. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
But I also think as well, you know, if I want to go be with my family because we're having a baby, who's reporter A to say whatever she wants?
Troy Deeney reacting their cast to that French journalist who essentially slammed Jeremy Doku for even countenancing the fact that he might leave the World Cup to be there for the birth of his child. Can you understand why he would want to go home for that, even though it's the World Cup?
Well, I have to put it in some perspective here because when I heard the story, and Troy was right to mention some of the silly things that were said, as cutting the umbilical cord. Well, yeah, I'd get all of that. Would I do it? Would I go back? No.
You wouldn't?
No, I've got 7 children. Okay, and 6 of my own and 1 I adopted. And I love them to death. I have a great relationship with them. But I wouldn't go back from a World Cup.
Would you?
That's me. But I'm allowed to be me, aren't I?
Yeah, of course you are.
If my missus was okay with it, which I'm going to tell a story at 7:15 about the birth of my first child with my first wife, Sarah. And I'll tell that story. But also, for me, it's a personal choice. But I can't imagine if someone had said to me, like even one of my sons, or if they'd done something and I would say I'm in hospital as their dad, I'm in a hospital and I'm in a hospital bed and they didn't come and visit me sorry, they come to visit me, and when I'm in my worst state and they've got something massive on in their career or just something that was really huge, I would go, be there.
Yeah.
I want you to be there. That's so big. That doesn't mean everyone's got the right for their own decision. If Troy thinks, like he said, that he'd want to be there, it's the most important thing. Yes. It is for us to have children. Of course it is. But if I had a World Cup at stake, that would be the pivotal, So if we said, would you miss the game for the World Cup final? Would you miss that game? If you'd have asked any of the 1966 crew who won the World Cup that their wife was having a baby the day before or the night or the day of the game, would they rather be at the World Cup? I think their wives would probably be telling them to go and play.
Yeah, I guess
that's personal between the couple.
But the question, and that's fine. I agree with you. It's totally up to you.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with a French reporter, though.
No,
that's
exactly.
Personal family decision. So either way, just stay out of family matters. I would say. And I say this as someone that works in the media. I say as someone that talks about football and footballers. I don't think it's for us to say or to criticise those personal decisions. So I think Troy's absolutely bang on in that.
Well, just my first wife, but I'm going to tell the story a bit later, but that decision was put in front of us before a Millwall game. Okay? And I'll tell the story of how it all came about. Yeah. But she wanted me to go and play. And it was the day before she had started contractions. Yeah. But she said, don't worry, go and play because I think you'll be okay to come after the game and, whatever. And some women don't want their other halves there as well.
Yeah.
Some do. I'd rather they weren't there.
Well, I look forward to hearing that at 7:15.
No, it's a story. But it's a funny story. But look, you've got the right to your own decision making. You're going to spend every day with your kids afterwards, aren't you? You're going to nurture them and support them all the way. You've got the rest of your life. Would I be prepared to go out of the World Cup? And no, I'd be saying, sorry, I ain't coming back.
Cappuccino with Cascarino. It looks like it's going to be a tasty one at 7:15.
We'll go our own right.
Stay tuned. But right now, we're coming up to the end of the group stages. Over this weekend, we're going to be reviewing each team from each continent and looking at who's represented them well and who has had a tournament to forget. Delighted now to welcome an Asian football expert, host of the Asian Game podcast. Good morning, Paul Williams.
Hi, Paul.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Great to speak to you again. Let's start with Iran-Egypt, the game that's just finished. Finished 1-1, so close for Iran to a huge win. Cass and I talking about just how well they've sort of done in a really difficult environment where they've sort of been treated differently, essentially, to every other team in this tournament. What do you make of that point for Iran? Absolutely huge. Looks like it could see them qualify in that third best table.
Yeah, a huge point, but it could have been so much better. I mean, you couldn't get any more unlucky towards the end of that game for Iran. They hit the crossbar twice and then had that goal ruled out for the most marginal of offside calls that you can imagine. You can just imagine the devastation that's within that Iran group at the moment. Of course, there is still a possibility to go through, but they would have finished second. It would have set up an all-Asian clash with Australia in the round of 32 to guarantee an Asian side in the round of 16. And there's a history between Australia and Iran that dates back to a very famous World Cup qualifier in 1997. And believe it or not, despite Australia being a member of the AFC for 20 years, Australia and Iran have never met since that game in Melbourne in 1997. And Australia are desperate to get some revenge. And if they had have been able to play Iran in a World Cup knockout game, it would have been arguably one of the biggest matches in Australian football history and in Iranian football history as well. But for Iran, incredibly well to get through this group without defeat. 3 draws on the bounce, the first time they've ever gone undefeated in a group stage of the World Cup, and they're now set up to get out of the group for the first time as well.
Paul, I've got to ask you this because Asia's such a big, you've got so many teams that represent. You can go from Japan to South Korea to Uzbekistan. It's just huge. There's one team I've not heard anybody talk about or say anything, and it's Jordan. Not Simon Jordan, who works for talkSPORT, but actually Jordan. Please tell me what Jordan, because they've got to this World Cup. I've not heard a word about them.
No, and they fly under the radar, not just in world football, but kind of in Asia as well. And that's despite the fact that they made the final of the last Asian Cup. They made the final of the FIFA Arab Cup in December in Qatar as well. And yet they continue to fly under the radar. And they've performed admirably in what is their debut tournament so far. Don't have any points to show for it. Play Argentina tomorrow, so we'll probably finish without a win and without a point. But, against Algeria, they took the lead. They looked good up until about 60 minutes, and then Algeria just overpowered them a little bit. Set-piece defending has been something that's let them down in their opening game against Austria and again against Algeria as well. But for their debut tournament, they've acquitted themselves really, really well. They're missing one of their star strikers, Yazan Al-Naimat, which I think makes a big difference to the structure of their side. It means that they've had to play their best player, Moussa El-Tamari, who plays for Rennes in France, who's a winger. They've had to play him as a centre forwards. They've kind of, robbed Peter to pay Paul a little bit, and it's just taken a little bit of the dynamism out of their attack. So as I said, they'll probably finish the World Cup winless, and it won't look good on paper. But I think for a debut tournament for a small nation like Jordan, I think they've performed admirably so far.
Paul, you've just scratched an itch that Cass has had since the start of the World Cup, because he's been complaining. I said, I know nothing about Jordan, and you've just reeled off an unbelievable amount of information. So thank you for that, because he'll be a little bit more calm and relaxed. Let's talk about Australia, though, because, we obviously that defeat against the USA was an interesting one, because there'd been this sort of back and forth online between Aussie fans, US fans. There'd been that comment from the US commentator about that game being a layup. USA came out 2-0 on top. Australia still through to a knockout round. They've got Egypt, which for me is certainly a winnable game.
Yeah, I think everyone in Australia will be pretty happy with that outcome. I think the odds were stacked that it was going to be perhaps Belgium that we would face in that game. So to come out of it with Egypt, who are no pushovers, let's be honest. But I think on paper, Australia would certainly take that. The result of that America game still stings a little bit. I don't think we gave ourselves the best shot in that game with our selections going into that game. It raised a lot of eyebrows back here in Australia, but we did what we needed to do in that final game against Paraguay. We didn't, exert ourselves too much. We controlled the game. We dominated the game, had a few half chances to score, but I think we'll quite contend in the end, as will Paraguay, with a 0-0 draw to take both of us through. And now he said we come up against Egypt, which I think on paper is a winnable game for Australia. Australia's never won a knockout game at the World Cup. I don't think Egypt has either. So there's going to be history created one way or another in Dallas next week.
Paul, can we talk about Japan? Because Cass and I have been so impressed with how organised they are. They've scored some brilliant goals as well. They're going to be, I think they're a dark horse, or maybe not so dark anymore, because they've just played so well. We've seen how well they played up in the build-up to the tournament. What are you expecting from them heading into the knockout rounds?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of expectation on this Japan squad, within the squad as well. I mean, a lot of them have come into this World Cup talking about how they have aspirations to go deep and potentially win the tournament. And we've never heard that kind of rhetoric from Japan before. I remember Keisuke Honda, probably going back 10 years ago, had mentioned it, but it was always something that seemed fanciful, that you laughed off as, Honda being Honda. He's a bit of a eccentric character. But now you get that sense that this team actually believes that they can compete with the best teams in the world, and they see themselves in that bracket. The unfortunate thing for Japan, as we saw when the draw came out, is they've just got an incredibly difficult crossover in the round of 32 to play Brazil. When you look at some of the fixtures in the round of 32, there are teams that have got a far softer, far easier draw. I think of, South Africa versus Canada, for instance, and you're going to have two of arguably the best teams in this tournament at this stage it seems unlucky that either Japan or Brazil aren't going to go any further in this tournament.
But Brazil are going to look at that game, Cass, surely, and they're going to be thinking, quaking in their boots.
Well, what they'll know is that the whole ethic of Japan is teamwork. So they have to match that. And Japan are a very, attack-minded team as well.
Yeah.
And they've beaten Brazil in Brazil in a game in the warm-up. So I think that's a tough game for Brazil. I think they already know it, don't they, Paul?
Yeah, and I think Japan will be, Brazil will be acutely aware of it. As you said, they did play that friendly. It was in Japan last year, but Brazil were 2-0 up in that game against Japan, and Japan came back to win that game 3-2, the first time they've ever beaten first time they've ever beaten Brazil at senior level. So that will give themselves a massive boost of confidence that they know not only can they beat Brazil, they can come from behind to beat Brazil as well. And I think there's a sort of a newfound belief that we haven't seen in a Japanese squad in this side. And you look at the goal they scored against Sweden, the beautiful, intricate passing, everyone's moving in motion. There's a symmetry about the way that they play. They'll go into the game as underdogs, I think, but I think they're great shakes to cause what would still be considered an upset and progress.
Yeah, that's the exact way to say it. There is a symmetry, there's a fluidity about it. Just finally, Paul, because this is so informative, just for you, who has been pound for pound the most impressive Asian team in the tournament so far?
Easily Japan. I think easily Japan. When you look at the performances that they've had, I think the fact they were able to come from behind twice against the Netherlands showed a real steel and mettle to this side. They've had a history in the past of winning the games that no one expects them to win, like at the last World Cup, Germany and Spain, and then falling over in the games that they are expected to win. I think of that Costa Rica game 4 years ago when everyone expected they would beat Costa Rica easily, who had just shipped 7 goals against Spain, and they went out and somehow lost. And yet in that sort of corresponding fixture this time around against Tunisia, the team they're expected to beat, they completely dominated, won 4-0, could have been 5 or 6. And then they did what they needed to do against Sweden. They have been by far the easiest, the best of the Asian teams in what it has to be said has been a relatively disappointing performance for Asia at this tournament.
Yeah. Paul,
good, great stuff.
Yeah,
Paul.
Thank you so much, mate. We'll catch up with you later on in the tournament for sure. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
That is Paul Williams, host of the Asian Game podcast.
I got it.
Yeah, you got
I wanted to get Jordan. I hadn't heard a thing about them.
No, he is the voice of authority on Asian football. So if you want to check that out, the Asian Game podcast, Paul Williams, please do. You're listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. Next up, we're going to delve in to the back pages.
Manchester City have agreed a £116 million deal to sign Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. The fee, as you might have guessed, is the most ever paid for a British player and represents a new record for Manchester City. He's 23, Anderson, and has now been given permission to undertake a medical right here in New York today, with the deal subject to the finalising of personal terms. You would think that will get done quick style. Alex, Elliot Anderson, this is a remarkable rise, isn't it?
Certainly is, when you think that he went from Newcastle to Forest for a relatively modest sum. I know Eddie Howe at the time didn't particularly want to cash in, but obviously they had issues with PSR.
Yep.
It's interesting, the figures. City side are saying 116 million. Forest side are saying actually it's nearer to 130 million. Either way, it's a record, as you say, for a British player, potentially a Premier League record fee, eclipsing what Liverpool paid for Alexander Isak this time last year. I was speaking to a couple of ex-players at the darts last night, and we were pondering, if Elliot Anderson is really a £130 million player, how much would someone like Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? I think he's a terrific player, Elliot Anderson. I'm not sure he's a £130 million player.
Well, sure. He joined Forest, as Alex says, from Newcastle in a £35 million deal in 2023. So, not so long after that, we've now arrived at 116 million.
Well, brilliant business for Forest. If I'm going to my...
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good morning, you're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast Show here on talkSPORT. It's me, Max Scott, alongside Bromley's finest, Tony Cascarino. We're building up and reacting to a huge summer of sport, huge night of World Cup action, one which is going to impact Scotland. We'll get to that in a minute, but here's what's coming up on talkSPORT today. So from 10 a.m, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Charlie Baker, and then we've got a blockbuster World Cup weekender. Jim White in on a Saturday. Happy days alongside our chief football correspondent Alex Crook from 1 p.m. live from the States. Then we've got Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy with World Cup Game Day live from 4 p.m. building up to the big one, England against Panama. And then the Go Adrian Durham presents live commentary, Panama against England, build up from 8, kick off from 10. Remember, every single World Cup game, every minute is live here on the talkSPORT network. So be sure to keep it talkSPORT so you do not miss a thing this summer. But right now, though, producer Gab is in the studio, delving into the back pages, a couple of the big stories this morning. What we got, Gabs?
Gentlemen, good morning. I think we have to start with the person who's all over the back pages in regards to one of your boys, your Forest boys, up the tricky trees.
The Geordie man.
Elliot Anderson. And there's a few pieces, to be fair. I know, Cass, you spoke to the Times fairly recently about Elliot Anderson, and Kyle Walker's got a piece in The Sun. Elliot makes me look like a £50 million bargain. 116 million, obviously with add-ons, it could be a British record fee. It's no shock, but now you have to deliver titles. And obviously Kyle Walker's drawing from, the experience of what it takes to play for a club like Manchester City. They've become, the standard of football when it comes to winning trophies and, dealing with the pressure that comes with that as well. And Max, this is somebody that you would have seen, of course, during his Forest career. When you're looking at somebody like Elliot Anderson, and when you're especially looking at the fee that it costs, the pressure that Kyle Walker's talking about here, do you think that this is somebody that can kind of live up to it and kind of take it in his stride?
Without a doubt. The way that the level that he's performed at a club that in the last 2 seasons has qualified for Europe against the odds and then had this most chaotic, tumultuous season, 4 different managers, relegation threat, he's had personal tragedy, and the way that he is acted with such courage, integrity, bravery on the ball, on and off the pitch, is endeared into Forest fans' hearts. And I just think he goes with our blessing, because we know that if he didn't wear a Forest shirt this season, if he had a City shirt on or an Arsenal shirt on, he would rightly be considered one of the best midfielders in Europe. And I've got no doubt he is that. And more people are just going to realise when he goes to Manchester City and inevitably wins titles, what an unbelievable sort of, not even an understudy, but a follow-on for Rodri. He's going to win titles and silverware for the rest of his career. He's world-class.
I'd add to that he's going to a team that role, his position is vital. So if you look at Rodri, as Max just touched on, then look before him, it's Fernandinho.
Yeah.
They were so important for City to be successful, for allow the flair players to be exceptional. And the one standout feature for me for Man City, if you look at their last 3 signings, I call them signings that you don't need recruitment teams for. Semenya, you don't, you bring Mark Gahey and then you bring in Elliot Anderson.
No-brainer.
You don't need data on someone like that. You just look at him and think, absolutely necessary. And if you're going to lose Rodri, which looks like it's going to happen, he's the best around for that.
One more thing I want to say about Elliot Anderson for Manchester City fans, particularly when you're such a possession-based team and with Rodri, maybe out the door or towards the end of his career, no other midfielder in Europe has won the ball back more than Elliot Anderson. So in terms of the tempo of
And
the
he
game,
retains it well as
maintaining
well.
pressure, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that facet of his game is something which goes underreported for me. He wins the ball back all the time. It's going to be important for England, but for Manchester City next season under new management, he's going to be a real tempo and standard setter. Unbelievable player.
Well, somebody who could have used a little bit of that, sprinkle and magic is probably Scotland, and they're also making the back pages this morning. There's a bit of a damning piece in here actually. It's in the Daily Mail. Stewing stars are trapped in World Cup purgatory, while the Wags have given up and gone home, and even the Tartan Army are sick of grumpy Jurassic Clark inside Scotland's camp of doom. And of course, as you can imagine, Jurassic Clark is very clever. It's like I said, it is a little bit damning though, just because you think, of all the vibes, you think of all the good stories that have emerged from Scotland and their fans being so kind of beloved, capturing the imagination of, the American fan base that have, been really involved in this World Cup. However, from what it looks like inside, it looks like, for lack of better words, Cass, a little bit of a toxic atmosphere kind of developed in the camp.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see on that one. Shabana, who knows a lot more, will be on later, so she can give us the insight there. What I would say is when you get a result against Haiti in the first game, get yourself on the board with 3 points. And I always think of Scotland, the Brave, and the national anthem, and just think, well, they weren't that. They weren't brave. And, if you're going to be brave, and I didn't like the idea of you can't attack Brazil, you leave yourself open. Well, okay, I get it to a point, but what you can't do either is give gifts to teams. When you want to play out from the back and you want to get, into these positions where you're going to keep the ball with defenders that quite clearly are not capable of keeping it, then you're going to get exposed. And by the way, Ancelotti absolutely knew what Scotland were going to do.
Yeah.
It was so, and he must have thought, well, we know when to press. We're going to do it really hard. I mean, I felt really sorry for one of the greatest players Liverpool have had for years, Andy Robertson. Ryan at Bournemouth gave him one hell of a bet. First half, he really struggled to handle him. And I didn't think Scotland showed anything about Scotland the Brave. It was just, you're going to, when you have an advantage that you could go through on a -1 goal, difference. That's a big one. So don't give them presents. And Scotland literally went here, and they did it in the game before as well.
Cass, I need to get your take. I'm keen that I know we have to break, but I need to get your take on the Scott McTominay because he's also featured in this same story in regards to, we understand that he was battling illness coming into that Haiti game, but, this is somebody that was looked at as, the kind of figurehead and the face of what Scotland was supposed to be coming into this World Cup, but obviously wasn't his best performances over the two games after the Haiti game. What would you, how would you assess this kind of
performance? Well, if he was battling illness, then probably shouldn't have played. Okay? That's my first point. Scott McTominay's had a really great season in Napoli, again, and you'd think that he'd be one of the kingpins. I saw nothing offensively. Like people like McGinn, who are good players, really good players. I thought, what was the idea of Lawrence Shankland playing alongside Shea Adams, which I thought, why don't you just stick with that? Instead of going, well, no, we now need to go 5 in midfield. And you've basically gone, every centre-forward that's played for Scotland becomes redundant in getting goals. Yeah. You just look at the list. They never have a striker. My favourite striker of all time, because I supported Liverpool, was Kenny Dalglish. He was a brave striker. If Kenny was to play in that team on his up front on his own and literally with nothing to feed off, I just don't get it. I think Scotland have, from different managers, have really made it hard for centre forwards in Scotland.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing as well what Shaban's take on this is later. She, of course, the host of the Breakfast Show on the weekend, is joining us to give us a little bit of reaction to what she's seen in the Scotland camp, her feelings following the Tartan Army ahead of what looks like an almost impossible task for Scotland to qualify for the knockout rounds. Gabs, brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up in the next hour, of course, we're going to continue looking back at Scotland. You are listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast here on talkSPORT.
look at Scotland over the 3 games, David, what is your overall assessment and takeaway? I mean, most of us looked at it and felt that Morocco and Brazil would be a reach to get anything from, and that the outcome of the Haitian game would be important and that goals needed to be scored. Criticism is being made of Steve Clark. I'm not asking you to jump on the bandwagon, but the manner in which Scotland have played, the lack of bravery, the fact that they've been very negative in lots of people's minds, and Steve as a defensive coach. When you hear all those things, what's your assessment of these 3 games and the opportunities that Scotland have either taken or missed?
Yeah. Well, we spoke the other day. I think the biggest word what you're missing here, Simon, is quality. I don't think Scotland have the quality at the moment available to them to compete. I'm not saying that on the odd day that you wouldn't beat one of these teams and get good results, which we did against Denmark, for example, when we get through those games. But I just feel that generally Scotland have been short of that level. We talked about it a few days ago when we were talking about the Haiti game and only winning 1-0. We all felt it was a really good result. Not a really good result, but a good result because we had got 3 points. But you were right in what you were saying. We probably needed to score 3 or 4 goals. But I don't think MD, who's played Haiti yet, or certainly Morocco, have found it that easy. And I don't think they've been as easy a game as what maybe everybody hoped it might have been. So yeah, it might have cost us not scoring 2 or 3 goals in that one game.
We all know it. That moment when France were reduced to 10 men in the 2006 final. But Zinedine Zidane's World Cup story was so much more than those antics in Berlin. Despite a meteoric rise to prominence in the early 90s, Zidane wouldn't really start his World Cup career until 1998. See, France didn't even qualify for 94, so they had some making up to do on home soil. Ahead of the tournament, Zidane was flying. Back-to-back Serie A titles and Champions League finals with Juventus, but things didn't exactly go to plan. In France's second group game, he was shown one of these. I mean, we were so busy getting angry at Bex for his red, we didn't even realise Zidane was getting properly dug out in France for the 12 days before. The French public demanded he be kicked out of the squad and sent home, but manager Aimé Jacquet held firm and brought him back 2 games later. After his return, he'd start every game until the final, where he was quite simply brilliant. He scored not once, but twice, and this was the moment he'd been waiting for. There was national jubilation, and all was forgiven. He was even rewarded with a Ballon d'Or to cap off a near-perfect year. France won the Euros 2 years later, and so were red-hot favourites at the 2002 World Cup. But the table will tell you things did not go to plan. Now, come 2006, France, now captained by Zidane, are one of the favourites again, but they made hard work of it. They won just 1 game and finished second in their group, which meant they had to beat Spain, Brazil and Portugal en route to the final. Then, the moment we all remember. Zinedine, just leave it. Walk away. Zinedine, no! And that meant he became only the second player in history to be sent off twice in World Cups. France lost, but he still won the Golden Ball. As you can see, he was thrilled. Or furious. Zidane never played again, but across 3 tournaments his story had everything. Disgrace, glory, infamy. We don't like our heroes clean anyway, do we?
Yeah, good morning. You're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, and Millwall Hall of Famer Tony Cascarino in our lovely air-conditioned studio.
It's lovely.
Thank the
Beautiful.
Lord, where we're reacting to a big night of World Cup action where Uruguay slumped to shock early World Cup exit after Baena strike sends Spain through to the round of 32.
Oh, Muslera's fumbled it! A terrible mistake by the veteran goalkeeper to gift Alex Baena the lead for Spain.
Yeah, we're going to be looking through all the teams that have made the round of 32. Business end of the tournament starts now as well. The story of the World Cup for me, Cape Verde made history by becoming the smallest nation to reach the knockout stage at the World Cup. Wow, it was takeoff in Houston as full-time whistle went.
The Blue Sharks are in uncharted waters. Cape Verde, in their first ever World Cup, have made the round of 32.
And of course, England take on Panama, their final group stage game tonight. Tuchel's warned that Panama are still a tough task.
It's a complex one. We're in the role of the favourites. We have to do some stuff better, details better than against Ghana, but it's another challenge.
Of course, we know that Reece James isn't playing. He's suffering with that perennial hamstring issue. Bad news for England on that front, but breaking news this morning, we understand Bukayo Saka is set to start. Give us a call, drop us a WhatsApp message, 81089 or 03717 223344 if you want to have your say. This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast on talkSPORT. So we are, of course, going to be dedicating a lot of time to talk about England more as the show goes on. But let's turn our attention to the Tartan Army. We just heard Cass before the break, a bit of a scathing assessment of their performances, particularly against Brazil. And the question we're asking, is their World Cup dream over?
Uncharted territory lies ahead for Scotland.
Pitch side, watching your team at a World Cup playing against Brazil.
When you look at Brazil's attacking play in the final third of the pitch and you look at ours, there's really no comparison.
McKenna is blocked off. Vinny Jr. is in. It's a gift. A World Cup gift for Brazil.
It was a tough ask tonight and we came up short.
Guns missed it. Headed in. Vinicius Jr. for two.
We've got ourselves to blame.
Scotland fans will now be looking ahead to a number of potential permutations.
We need a lot to go away, but we'll hope.
Bruno Guimaraes has outpaced Kenny McLean. Lovely feet, lays it square. Cunha! It's three. It gets worse and worse for Scotland.
The format now allows us to sit here and think that we have some sort of chance. Can you argue that we deserve it? I'm not sure. Chances at the moment, I think we're probably going home.
And a nervy few days away. 3-0 to Brazil. No Scotland, no party, they say. Well, the Scotland party might not be far from being over.
Yeah, so the Scotland fans, the Tartan Army, have captured the imagination of the world with their antics, their support, a ray of sunshine at the World Cup. But those two losses in a row to Morocco and Brazil have made qualification to the round of 32 almost impossible. Let me remind you, Scotland need these three things to happen today. They need Ghana to beat Croatia by at least 3 goals. They need Uzbekistan to win or draw against the Democratic Republic of Congo. And they also need Austria to win by 2 or more goals against Algeria. It's unlikely to happen. Let's get more on Scotland, on what this means for the nation now with former Rangers forward and director of football, Gordon Smith. Good morning, Gordon.
Hi, Gordon.
I think you're on mute, mate, perhaps.
You hear me? No.
We got you now. Sorry, that might have been our end. Apologies if you weren't. Gordon, look, just tell me how you're feeling and what you make of a really good start, you could say, against Haiti, getting a point on the board, but then what's been, I think, really conservative performances. You know, very few shots on target, if any, against Morocco and Brazil.
Yeah, the main thing about it was a game, the Haiti game was one that was expected to be a victory.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you know, they're a small nation, not that good. And, you know, we thought we could get a win there. And I think I was considering myself that maybe even 3 points might be enough. But it isn't going to be enough. That I think we're definitely going to be out anyway, that's for sure. But I think that in terms of the performance, I feel really sorry for the fans. Because you mentioned that they've gone there in their thousands. And there's been really, they've nothing to cheer on when they've seen what's happened over there. So I think that that's the worst thing. Now, Steve Clark, he did say we didn't play, we didn't perform, but to be honest with you, I think that in the 2 games, I didn't agree with his lineup. in terms of the teams he went with. I think he mentioned how good the Brazilians were in attack. That's because we gave them too much space in their attacking side of the game. And we should have been a lot tighter and made it. I felt we should have gone with a back three for a start, 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs as well, just to make it a 5 at the back and just make it difficult, not leave as much space.
Yeah, and Gordon, look, there's teams, international sides that are going to make it really difficult. We've seen Ghana do it. We saw Australia do it to Turkey in one of the earlier games where, you know, you defend really well. And the argument for me is it can be flawed is when you try and get centre-halves to overplay and try things from the back that end up giving gifts away to an opposition like Brazil.
Yeah, you're right, Tony. It happens so often these days. I mean, every time how many times in the modern game I even see so many passes going to the goalkeeper from inside the opposition half when players are not under any pressure and they could turn and just play it forward and get an attack, but they try to build all the moves from the back. Now, I just felt that we were too slack. I actually did feel, even before the games, both games, I felt that we should have been playing with, a back 5, 3 centre-backs, because that's one of the weaknesses of our team at the moment. The strongest area, Tony, is the midfield. We're very strong in midfield, but they never really got going because of the fact that the opposition were obviously committing everything to attacking us and not leaving much room for the midfield players to have a good game.
One thing, Gordon, as well, I struggled. I don't get how Scotland have become sort of redundant in the centre-forward area, which every time I watch a Scotland team, there's never a guy you go, like a McCoist, like for a Joe Jordan, Kenny Dalglish. I know these are all players from the past, but that type of striker that's going to get them goals on a regular basis, like Ireland have it with Robbie Keane. Well, I just see redundant strikers that, even if they're not to that level, they still don't get the opportunities to score enough.
No, I agreed. It's not one of the strong areas we have as well. As I said before, we've got a lot of competition for midfield places, Tony. We've got a lot of good players. You look at players that you're going to get: Ferguson, McTominay, McGinn, all having really good careers. You've got Lexa Christie as well. So, but up front has been a problem for us. There's no doubt about it. We don't have a real world-class striker, a top-class striker. And despite the fact that we can create chances, that's not going to help. That's why McTominay has been so valuable to the team, because of the goals he was getting prior to this World Cup.
Gordon, we heard it in the package, and Cass raised this. I just want to bring it up, Cass. We heard Steve Clark when essentially comparing Brazil's forward line to his and saying, well, almost like, what do you expect? For me, that when Scotland are coming into the first World Cup in a generation, you want fighting talk from your manager, surely. You want him to maybe inspire a bit more confidence. And you mentioned that really negative performances, defenders making silly mistakes, trying to play out from the back. My question really is, do you think that Steve Clark has gone as far as he can with this Scotland squad? I know he's done an incredible job, but there are portions of the Tartan Army that are so frustrated that they want a change in management. Do you think that's an unfair thing at this point?
Well, it's never really, because that's what the football fans are like when the manager doesn't perform. And the thing about it is he signed a new contract just before the World Cup started. Yeah. I was quite surprised at that, to be honest, because I did feel that you give the man the World Cup, you see how he does, and then if he does really well, then he's actually worked himself towards a good contract. But they gave him in advance. But the way he has been talking, Steve Clark, it's almost as if nothing to do with me. This is the players aren't good enough, and it's to do with the lineup, which players are picked, all that sort of thing. And I don't think that's the right way to approach it. I think that in the day the players didn't do well enough. But a lot of the times, and Cass would tell you this as well, a lot of the times it's down to the fact how the team is structured, whether you get the best out of players or not. If the team's not structured in the right way, despite the quality of the players, they're not going to perform. And that was definitely the case against Brazil.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, it's clear that this team. You just mentioned the midfield there. Just Scott McTominay been nowhere at his best. I know he came with an illness. Same with John McGinn. Same with Andy Robertson. And I think there has to come a point where there is some accountability on the manager cast. Do you think that? Yeah. Do you think he should stay on as a manager?
Well, I'm a bit like Gordon, where I think you always have to judge anybody after tournaments. But Thomas Tuchel's been in the same position. He's been given a new deal. It's a safety net for these managers. I get it. Their agents want them to have a bigger, longer contract. I mean, I think Scotland have underachieved in this tournament. If you look at, we talked about Cape Verde earlier. They've drawn twice against 2 world champions. Have won the tournament. You know, and they've got nowhere near the level of players that Scotland have got. Have they, Gordon?
No, absolutely right. That's the thing. You can't all of a sudden say, oh, we've not got the players when teams like that are going through. Cape Verde, as you said, don't have the players at all, and yet they're through. And you look at, we actually only beat Haiti 1-0, really, which wasn't a great performance in the day. But the main thing about it was the result. Because what you do first and foremost in football, certainly in competitions like this, is it's all about result first and performance second. And that's the thing about it. And we got the result against Haiti. The performance wasn't great, but in the other 2 games, both the performance and the result were very poor. And I think that, for a poor World Cup because of that.
Yeah, I can't help but feel, Gordon, that the fans, I think Righty said this, that the fans have really been let down. And, yes, they're a small nation, but as you say, so are Cape Verde. And I think Scotland should be able to be producing a lot more, even though they're against much bigger football nations. And I don't think that the narrative coming from Steve Clark, the tone of his sort of pre- and post-match press conferences helped whatsoever, and gives a little bit of an insight into perhaps a lack of confidence and bravery in that Scotland team. Gordon, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Hopefully you can get, by hook or by crook, an absolute miracle today, and you'll be there with another chance. But I unfortunately don't see that happening. But thanks for joining us, Gordon.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Gordon.
Brilliant. That's Gordon Smith, former Rangers forward, director of football as well. Getting properly stuck into Scotland. A reminder that Shabana Hearn is joining us later in the show. She's been the voice of authority on Scotland. She's been the voice of authority on the Tartan Army. Can't help but feel for her, having had to, sort of put up with those dour performances. But enough of that. We're going to lighten the mood, because next up, it's our weekly cappuccino with Cascarino.
You mentioned him there, right, and about Nico O'Reilly. Now, obviously, the manager made a change because he saw something in Ghana and he thought Spence would have been a better option. But you would have watched Nico week in, week out. Does it faze him, whoever he's playing against, however quick they are, strong they are? Is he just the perfect left back in terms of playing against anyone?
I tell you what is the difference between Nico and Jed Spence. Nico will get you a goal. He will get you a ghosting and get you a goal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of Jed Spence. I'm not Tottenham fan. I haven't seen enough of him, so I don't know. But I would, being biased, he'd be the first name on the City team sheet, never alone the England team sheet. So, and when he came on, he had one of the two best chances. So, I wouldn't be quick to drop Nico. He's whatever he might lack as a fullback, he'll give you going forward the other way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And he's fearless. He's fearless on the ball. He can dribble like a midfielder. He's a top player.
Let's sort of move it on to City while staying with England. You are edging closer to a deal for Elliot Anderson. And I said before the window opened, if United could buy one player that would be gettable, it would be Elliot Anderson. I'm not too sure about the price tag. I don't know what that's going to be. I know Forest have already rejected a deal worth about £121 million. Your views on him? You're excited by the prospect of him being a City player?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken much notice of him, to be honest. You know what I mean? He's one of those players that you don't really, he scored against us last season and he was great. But the price tag.
Get Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com. Win 26 grand in your hand, courtesy of talkSPORT Win.
Yeah, good morning. You're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast. Me, Max Scott, man to my left, Tony Cascarino, and boy, we have got something special for you. It's competition. talkSPORT, we've got commentary of every single game from the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate this, we're giving you the chance to win £26,000 cash. And the best part, it's completely tax-free. That's right, £26,000. So what are you waiting for? Enter right now. Here's how. For your chance to win, visit talksportwin.com or text WIN to 83338 by 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2026. Text costs $2.50 plus your standard network rate, or send your name and number by post to Comp1 PO Box 3190 Colchester CO2 8GP to arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text 83338 now. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksportwin.com. I'm the English M&M this morning. Crikey Moses. It's a long read. Right now, time for a little bit of this.
A cappuccino with Cascarino on talkSPORT. Yummy.
Right, I did ask for that, mate.
This is, I don't know how this one's going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to tell a story, but also I want to tell a little bit of a secret. Okay. And it's to do with having children around tournaments. And I made it pretty clear to my missus is that I wasn't going to try, or we weren't going to try to have children in the months where June and July they'd be born. Okay. Because I might be in the Euros, I might be in a World Cup. Now, that's my choice. No, I'm not saying anyone else should do what I'm saying. I've got 7 kids, right? One was born in Jan, one was born in December, one was born in March, 2 were born in September, and 2 were born in August.
Perfect timing.
Never, ever World Cup Euros will be effective. Now, you might think that's pretty nuts, right?
Yeah.
I remember I didn't want to try to have kids. We can try and have kids all the other months, but not in them months.
We can try every other month, but not November, are we?
Well, just the months that, I know that children could be born early, and you might, the August one could be coming 2 months early. I understand all that. But generally, I would sort of think, I'm not going to try and have children for the months of June or July. And always sort of, but that's fine. That's not really...
So you were never in Jeremy Doku's position?
No, I was never going to be in, or... apart from the obvious. But anyway, now I'll tell you the story, what happened with Michael.
You've been teasing this.
I've told it before, but many years ago. My first son, I was playing for Millwall, Michael, and my missus was pregnant, Sarah, and it got to the Friday before the Saturday home game we had with Millwall, and Sarah was sort of, she was not having contractions, but she sort of felt it was the time was going to have our firstborn, Michael. And so she says, go to the game, go and play the game. So I go to Millwall. So I go there in my car, in my tracksuit, get in the car park. As I'm coming out, I sign all the autographs. As you're going in, you always got, 50, 100 people asking you for autographs as you walked into the stadium at the old Den. So I signed autographs and for fans and blah, blah, blah.
Man of the people.
Got in, yeah, man of the people, if you want. So I went and played the game. We win the game. And I got a call afterwards that my son had been born, Michael.
Wow.
So she'd gone into labour and had the baby quite quickly with Michael. And so on the way back, I
But
thought...
She didn't want to get in contact. I mean...
No, but Sarah was quite easy going on. She said that you go and play, Did
you have a mobile at this time?
Yeah. She was...
Did you have a mobile phone? Could she have called you?
Yeah, they were just the start of the mobile phones. But I got a call come in, Michael... Anyway, so I decide on the way to the hospital, Queen Mary's Hospital in Sidcup, which is South London, and get a phone call. So I think I'll get us a card. Get us a card as I go in. Yeah. Nice message in there. Anyway, go into the hospital, see Sarah. Hello, see my son Michael. Big, have a sort of kiss, and we're really proud that my first son and everything. And I give her the card, and Sarah opens it, looks at it, shuts it, and throws it back at me. And I go, what? She went, I'm not a fan. I went, what? She went, you've put best wishes Tony Cascarino on the card. Me being me.
Oh, mate.
I forgot. I just suddenly put best wishes. I don't know why I did it. I just, at the time,
Muscle memory signing all these autographs,
when
mate.
she said, I'm not a fan.
So you've given her an autograph.
And that's where it all went wrong, really. I basically signed best wishes, Tony Cascarino.
Oh, mate, that's an absolute clanger.
Clanger that was, yeah. But that was my firstborn, Michael.
Do you know what, Cass? It reminds me of the story. I mean, I can't remember this, but I've been told this no end. When I was born, so my mum went into... My dad was working, my mum went into labour. Hospital, ambulance came, she goes... and it's a really quick birth. So I've been born. Dad gets a message. Your son's been born. Your second kid, get to the hospital. And so we lived on the same road as his mum and dad, my grandparents.
All right.
And he thought, you know what? I'll just drop in to let him know. I'll drop in to let him know that Max has been born, and you can come see him soon, whatever. So he goes in, and my granny says, why don't you just have a celebratory whiskey? Right? So basically 3, 4, 5 whiskies later, Dad's not turned up to hospital. And then so Mum ends up, I think she comes back home. He's not even there. He's half cut with his mum and dad.
Yeah.
So
it's honestly the old school. Some of them make me laugh because they really had a different idea, and that thought of no, I've got to get going. I've got to go and see someone. They go, okay then.
No, brilliant stuff. That was Cass's weekly, the weekly cappuccino with Cascarino. You are listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast on talkSPORT. Next up, we're going to chat loads more England. We've got some breaking news from the England camp, look at their injuries, and as well as a little bit of Moto GP.
I just think our options, like we bring O'Reilly on, he gets the header in the box late on. You start putting bodies in the box against these low defensive block teams. Like it was calling out for Tony to come on for me, get more bodies in the box because we had players come on, put more crosses in the box. Saka come on and made an impact, I thought. But I just think Saka and Rashford has to start.
He's got to take the skipper off if he does.
So that was John Terry sitting exactly where Sam is this morning. This clamour for Rashford, you've got a view in that, haven't you?
Well, I just don't remember the last time Rashford started a game for England was particularly impactful. It's always the way, whatever you haven't got is what you cry out for when you don't get the outcomes that you want. The main thrust of England's game was they didn't fizz the ball around. If you move the ball quickly, you move people around. And it was interesting that they put Saka on, which I think makes a lot of difference when he comes on because he's a clever player, he creates outcomes. And the numbers that he throws out on the field are quite staggering when he's actually on the field. And then he shifted Madueke dug outside so that the coach could be in his ear driving him forward. I think the other thing, I think Rashford comes on as an impact player. If you're playing the last 20 minutes of a game and Rashford comes on with a wild hair up his backside because he hasn't been in the side, he's been replaced by Anthony Gordon at Barcelona and England and wants to play, which is the Rashford that we've got now. Tragically, for a boy of his talent, he's a consequence player. Every time he does something that gets him consequence, he responds to it. He doesn't play well for a season. The England team need him to be available for the next World Cup. He has a good season. He goes away, gets himself into trouble by not turning up for a training session, gets consequence. The next 3 games, he plays very well. So I don't think Rashford starting is the answer. I think the midfield, popping the ball around against teams that sit in and defend. And interestingly, I watched the Panamanians. These are not a bad side. They are quite a dynamic side. I thought the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes of games against Croatia was quite exciting. And I think Panama will come into this game thinking, well, we're out. So we've got nothing to lose. What's the point of a low block? What's the point of just sitting in? We can have a go at England, and it might suit England. You might find England come out of this game with quite a handy win.
Briefly, the two of you and Rashford. Stuart.
Couple of things. I think out of the 4 players that John mentioned, 4 wide players, I think out of all of them, Rashford's the best impact player. I also think
Better Saka?
Yes.
OK.
If I'm looking behind me and I'm saying which one of these 4's got more chance of getting me a goal in...
USA 94. What a summer when football became soccer in the blazing heat. It was also the tournament where fashion peaked. This, my friends, is Alexi Lalas. No, he wasn't Scottish. That's a full-blooded American right there. But in all seriousness, forget the hair. Look at the jersey. Dreamy 90s clobber. And it was everywhere. That's the legend that's Georgie Hagi of Romania, OVS, Brazilian shot stopper, Taffarel, and a Dutch guy. I mean, this was the period we were getting top quality in the Premier League too, but the national team designers raised the level even higher. The pitch was their catwalk as we got Germany, Bolivia, Sweden absolutely rocking it. The kind of kit we're shelling out for on retro sites to this day. And Spain, another beauty. 10 points if you recognise that guy. Of course, this was America, so the cheerleaders didn't want to be outdone. But in the end, 2 of the less is more designs made it to the final. And when Baggio blazed over, Dunga got the honours. The entire summer was an explosion of colour that would have broken Instagram. Sorry, just trying to get that Larson one off eBay. 70 quid. Bargain.
Yeah, good morning. How are we? Hope you're enjoying the cool clouds this morning because it's going to be another El Scorchio. I'm absolutely sick of it. Install aircon into every new build flat. Just moved in, Cass.
Yeah.
So well insulated because it's one of those new builds.
Boiling.
Absolutely boiling, mate. I'm sorry to go into too much detail. I had number one yesterday. I was sweating that much. I was drinking. I went to the toilet once, Cass. Like a dried tomato. Anyway, some of your headlines this morning. Alexander Usyk announces he's vacating all 3 world heavyweight titles before stepping into the boxing ring for the final time. One last dance. He insists he's not retired, though. This morning, talkSPORT understands big breaking news from the England camp. Bukayo Saka is set to start for the first time in this World Cup, replacing Noni Madueke. Thomas Tuchel's also considering bringing Marcus Rashford in for Anthony Gordon. We understand Jarell Quansah could deputise for Reece James, whose hamstring injuries are plaguing him yet again. And a great headline this morning. The Brazil great Ronaldinho says he cannot wait to dance with the ball again. He signed for Italian Serie C club Ravenna at the age of 46. And on the latest episode of the FIFA podcast, the former teammate Gilberto Silva was asked if Ronaldinho meant to score that famous free kick in 2002, which lobbed David Seaman.
Messi is something very special, as you know. The way he has been played so far, their ability to find the right spot, to be in the right position. He's a master class. He's out of this world. And Mbappe is another one. He's doing great for France. Messi can do. He can shine himself and also give an opportunity for the others. I think in some occasions maybe Mbappe could be more, let's say, a team player. But probably he's still growing up as a professional in the maturity in terms of the game. But his instinct is always to be, I want to get the ball, I want to score a goal. I think it's from what I have seen from him. His instinct also is always to look for the goal. How he gonna score as fast as he can, dribbling. But of course he can also assess the other players because it's not an individual game,
Okay, that was Gilberto. That was the FIFA podcast, but it was the wrong clip. He was talking about Messi. But I don't know if you realise, Cass, because you've been watching the screen reminiscing on the old days at Stamford Bridge where it looks like a big old sandpit.
Oh, no, it's that Stamford Bridge. Chelsea had one of the worst pitches in the country. They really did. I mean, I didn't play in this. This is before I was at Chelsea. This is Tommy Langley time. Ian Britton, Chelsea fans will know them as, old school players. But yeah, Chelsea, even when I got there, the pitch wasn't ever good at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, it looks an absolute shit.
But every pitch now is immaculate, isn't it?
On the clip that we were meant to hear, though, he's talking about Ronaldinho.
No, I know.
That clip that was played out, he's talking about Messi.
Yeah.
How do you think those two compare? Because both of them, absolute magicians.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Ronaldinho's one of the greatest to ever do it?
Yeah, absolutely. He was gifted. He could do things with the ball. At his very best, when he was playing his best football, I remember him getting 2 goals at Real Madrid one year and thinking, wow, he's got super talent.
Talk about Stamford Bridge, Cass. The goal that I remember is in that epic, I don't know if it was quarter-final or semi-final, Barca Chelsea, and he's on the edge of the box. He's surrounded by fans.
Yeah, toe punt.
Yeah, and he flicks his heel around, toe punt. That's one of the best goals I've ever seen.
I was at that game. A bit toe punt. And it was something that you don't see. For, again, Jack Charlton, I mentioned Jack probably a bit too much at times, but he always used to say the one that surprises people is the toe punt because the player doesn't actually know where it's going to go.
I'd like to see a toe punt penalty in this World Cup.
Yeah, well, it'd be very hard to read for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
If you get it on target, because they just go really strange directions, don't they, a toe punt?
Well, and with this ball, we're going to talk about the World Cup Tri-Onda ball a bit later. I'm going to try and find some space because it's doing some mad things.
Yeah.
And I reckon a toe punt might not be a bad shout from the edge of the box.
Yeah, well, Ronaldinho did one at Stamford Bridge. I think didn't they eliminate Chelsea with that toe punt?
Yeah,
that particular
that was
game,
it. They were knocked out. Yeah, unbelievable. Ronaldinho back in business. Italian Serie C. I tell you what, the viewing figures of Serie C are going to skyrocket just because he's back in there. 46 years young. Unbelievable. That was from the FIFA podcast, by the way. Available over on talkSPORT 2 or wherever you get your podcasts. Also live on talkSPORT 2. The battle for the Moto GP World Championship heads to the Cathedral of Speed this weekend for the Netherlands Grand Prix. Reigning champion Marc Marquez is back to his dominant best, hunting down the leaders, while the intense rivalry between Ducati and Aprilia promises plenty of drama at the iconic TT circuit. Assen joining us now for more on this is TNT commentator Gavin Emmett. Good morning, Gavin.
Good morning. How you doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah, very good, mate. We're just talking about Ronaldinho, a great coming back, at an older age. What's the closest we've had to that in Moto GP?
Well, recently, Valentino Rossi only just retired when he was 42. He was still going at it, and he was still scoring points. And he is the all-time legend of this sport, one of the GOATs. So, it wasn't long since he retired. It was about 2021. And 42 when he was still going at it. And, there's no hydration breaks on a motorcycle. When you're sat on an oven going 200 miles per hour, you don't get to stop for a free kick or a corner or a drinks break in the chat with your coach. So, we've got it all here. It was 37 here yesterday and scorching. So.
Wow. Yeah. So tell us the consequences of last week, the Czech Grand Prix, because the title race has been blown open, hasn't it?
Oh, you have missed it if you weren't listening on talkSPORT or you weren't watching on TNT Sports. The championship leader, Marco Bezzecchi, on the Saturday in the sprint race, He slapped a marshal. So think Paolo Di Canio knocking over poor Olcott. Think Eric Cantona kung fu kicking at Selhurst Park. Our championship leader slapped a marshal. He crashed and he was trying to help his bike out of the gravel and he slapped him. It's like a moment of madness. It is one of the craziest things we've ever seen. He got banned, obviously, but he's only had a one-race ban. But while he did that, Marc Marquez, who 2 races ago was over 100 points behind, now finds himself within striking distance. He's 40 behind. He's won the last 2 races. Bear in mind, he's been out with a shoulder injury. He's had a recent operation. His shoulder, he broke his foot. He missed a couple of races. He's come back. He's won a couple of races. And now it's game on in the championship again. It is all going wild. And funnily enough, Marco Bezzecchi, who's the championship leader, he's on it this weekend. He's the fastest rider. So it is all going off here.
We love the drama. So was it Bezzecchi that slapped the marshal?
Yes, it was. Yeah, the championship leader.
What's the response been like, sort of in the Moto G sort of fan community? Because if something like that happens in football, for example, people go absolutely, people would actually go nuts. The outrage would be through the roof. Are the sort of Moto GP fans a little bit more old school, or are they, absolutely outraged by it?
There's the odd one who say it's woke that he even got banned, but most people are basically saying the marshals who come and work at a Grand Prix event are volunteers. They're working all weekend, boiling hot conditions. They help the riders pull the bikes out of the gravel. They're crashing, and he crashed at 80 miles an hour. It saw, we could see his title lead frittering away. But the marshals are saintly, like they're there, they're doing an incredible job helping the riders, in their time of need. And it was just a no-no. Some people think that the ban, one race ban, was lenient. A lot of people also say, perhaps could have gone for the whole year. Anyway, it was just one race. I think it was about fair. But yeah, you can't do that. And it's just given Marc Marquez an open goal in which to toe bunt it in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fascinating stuff. Now, can you tell us about the circuit today? It's going to be scorching hot, famous for some historic sort of crashes as well, heavy braking zones. What can we expect in terms of the sort of action?
Assen is, right, so it's called the TT. It's not even called the Grand Prix here this weekend. It is the classic. This is our Wembley. This is the event. This is the one that's been on the MotoGP calendar, the World Championship calendar, since the very day dot, 1949. So this is the one that people love to win at. That's why it's called the Cathedral. It's fast. It's flowing. It hasn't got any long straights. The bikes are always moving from side to side at high speed. There's a couple of corners here that you take at 140, 150 miles an hour. In fact, second in the championship, Jorge Martin crashed at one yesterday. So it's a lively place. It's very unpredictable. And it's not supposed to be weather like this. It's supposed to be like the UK. It's not supposed to be 37 degrees. So that creates a little bit, the surface gets a bit greasy because the asphalt, the tarmac is so hot. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen today. But yeah, we're going to have a great sprint race. And then obviously talkSPORT tomorrow, we are going to be live with the TT. And who knows? I can't even tell you what's going to happen because there's so many contenders in the mix.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely thrilling. Gavin, thank you so much for joining us, mate, bringing that to life here on talkSPORT. That's TNT commentator Gavin Emmett. Remember, live this Sunday, the Netherlands Moto GP on talkSPORT 2 from 1 p.m. This weekend. MotoGP will bring the Dutch Grand Prix to the heart of London on June the 28th with the sport's first public watch party, transforming the outer net in London into a full immersive race day experience surrounded by 360-degree race coverage. And you can watch every practice, qualifying and race exclusively live on TNT Sports. You're listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast on talkSPORT. Up next, after that heavy loss to France, we're going to chat what shape the Norwegians are in. They've been an intriguing package for me so far in this World Cup. That's coming up next.
Ronaldo is top, still top. But Haaland, for instance, is a better finisher.
Let me ask you this. In world football, I said this, Bentley, on yesterday's show, and I got a little bit of criticism. In his pomp, right? I'll ask you both. I'll start with Bentley.
I heard it.
I said R9 is a better finisher than Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, do you know,
He's a better striker, number 9.
Do you know what you said, right? And you said he was a better goal scorer.
Okay.
Right? Now, for me, R9 is a better centre forward. Like, so I don't think it's even close, right? But what people will do is look at the numbers. And this is where sometimes stats-wise, like the new generation will go, if I say R9's better than Ronaldo, Cristiano, they're going to go, are you crazy? He's got 1,000 goals. But sometimes it's not about just stats. It's about what does your eyes tell you. And anyone who's watched it, you would have watched him. R9 is the best centre forward I've ever seen.
R9 for me, that's my hero. You know, he is. That's why I wanted to become a striker. You look at him, and Ronaldo has done absolutely magnificent. Yeah, and Ronaldo, it's all about numbers and goal scoring. And he's obsessed with that. And that makes him so good. But R9 is just phenomenal. He's just incredible.
Better.
As a footballer.
So
you
much
both
more
agree with
natural.
me on that.
Yeah, but you said, because the way you said goal scorer.
Yeah.
Now, you can't compare the numbers because Ronaldo's numbers are crazy.
You know what I mean? Like a better player.
He's a better player.
Yeah.
He's a better player. He's the things that he used to do, picking up the ball and dribbling, the goals that he scored for Barcelona.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good morning, you're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast Show live on your radio, on YouTube, on your smart TV. We're absolutely everywhere. I'm Max Scott, and lurking at the back post, it's Tony Cascarino. Some of your headlines this morning: Cape Verde, wow, just wow. They're into the knockout rounds of the World Cup for the first ever time in the first ever World Cup after that draw with Saudi Arabia. Hats off. As well, this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix. We've just been talking Moto GP and the Formula One. In Austria, it's been declared a heat hazard race by the governing body, the FIA. Going to be interesting to see how much weight Lewis Hamilton loses. Probably lose about 50 kegs in that one. And then, looking ahead to the football, some breaking news this morning. We understand Bukayo Saka is set to start against Panama tonight. And ahead of that game, talkSPORT caught up exclusively with England defender Jarell Quansah ahead of the game. He spoke about what Thomas Tuchel sees as his role in this England team.
Yeah, I think coming into the tournament, it was versatility. He saw I can play, he said, all 4 positions across the back 4, so really nice compliment to have off the manager, knowing that probably coming in to a couple of seasons ago I was very much a centre-back, and yeah, through formations and different reasons, I've played right back quite a few times now, and managed to have a few good games there as well, so yeah, I can provide options across all the back 4, and I trust myself to be able to do that. And when you have the manager's trust as well to be able to operate like that, it's always good and gives you a lot of confidence.
Now, from what we're hearing, we understand that Jarell Quansah is likely to deputise for Reece James at right back. Cass, you've seen Quansah at Liverpool. Are you a believer that he is a capable replacement at right back? Is his versatility strong enough to compete in a World Cup at right back?
Well, the first thing I'd say is, look, he wasn't ready as a Liverpool player, but going abroad, going to Germany and playing his football and having that opportunity to progress in his career. It ain't going to be a problem against Panama. It's not. It's the right back issue will become a problem against if you're coming up
Vinicius Junior,
Vinicius Junior or Bakalu with France or Doué. If you're coming up against them type of strikers, and there's other ones we can mention without even mention Nico Williams or Yamel plays on the other side anyway. There's probably about 4 or 5 wingers that are going to give you issues.
Yeah.
So we won't know the answer against Panama, but we will know the answer when they play elite teams, international sides in the World Cup.
We'll talk about elite wingers, elite forward players, which could cause later down the tournament, should it happen, England's defence some issues. Ousmane Dembele scored a superb first half hat-trick within 32 minutes as France defeated a rotated Norway side to finish top of Group I at the 2026 World Cup. The Norwegians finished in second place, though. Could be a dark horse to watch out for as this tournament progresses. Let's get more on this now with Norwegian football journalist Pal Gordon-Nielsen. Pal, great to have you with us.
Hi, Pal.
And I know that, Haaland said it himself before the game, France are probably going to win. But I thought it was really interesting that, I think quite a brave decision to rest Odegaard, rest Haaland, because they've already done so well and they're going to go into that round of 32. First World Cup since 1998. They're going to go into that knockout round fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, and that's the big topic in Norway today, of course. Was it the right tactic from the coach to save all these players? We only started with one guy playing against the match against Senegal. It was 10 changes in the team.
Yeah.
But Solbakken was always saying to the press, we have a more important game in the first knockout stage. We save all our players for that match. So, the match yesterday was supposed to be the big clash. That was the match everybody in Norway talked about before the tournament. It turned out to be disappointing, of course, not playing with Haaland, Ødegaard and all the best players. But Solbakken is only thinking about the next match, getting as far as possible in this tournament.
Pal, I would add to that, you're probably going to say that his decision was right, really, because if you looked at, which we'd say the second string team, which it was, they were clearly nowhere near good enough to compete against France yesterday.
I completely agree. We were really, really bad. And of course, there were players in the team yesterday who had played 1 or 2 caps for Norway. Yeah. Going into the big stage, France World Cup, it was too much for them, I think. But the question was, of course, they were already through to the next round. Winning the group would mean that Norway would play Sweden in the first knockout stage, and that's a tough one in Norway. Now we will go up to the Ivory Coast on Tuesday, and it's also only 4 days between these matches, and there were cramp. A lot of players had nearly got cramps and problems with their legs at the end of the match against Senegal. So Solbakken had to think, how can we best be prepared against Ivory Coast in the next match? So it was, but of course, and again, people in Norway are disappointed. Fans all over the world and in Norway, Norwegian traveling to the States, want to see Haaland and everything. But as Solbakken again said, I don't really care. I just think about this team going as far as possible in the tournament.
Just one quick one as well is that I actually think, Haaland would have loved to have been the Golden Boot and have the chance of the Golden Boot. A lot of people felt, well, he maybe wouldn't do it because how far Norway go. But it's on him as well. I think, well, he's done the team thing. He hasn't talked about the individual. He's done what's right for the team by being okay with that decision.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm not sure that he was okay with the decision, to be quite honest. I bet all the best players and Haaland, as you say, he wanted to be a top scorer in the tournament. He wants to play. He's in good shape. But I think that's also quite good of the players in the Norwegian team. No one of them has said to media that they are disappointed. And that's perhaps the strength in the Norwegian team right now. They are a good team. They are playing for each other. And they respect that, okay, I cannot play this match. And my friend will get a chance. I will be best prepared for the next most important match. So it's a team spirit. But I'm sure that Haaland himself would have liked to play this game. He's in great shape. And as you say, being able to fight for the top scorer title in the World Championships would be something he's dreaming about, of course.
Pal, is it fair to say, I'm not a Norwegian football expert, this is a great team. Is this the golden generation of international Norwegian football?
I think you could say that, yes. And as you guys talked about, the last time we were in the World Cup was in 1998. That was also a good team. We went to the Euros in 2000. But, I mean, when you look at the top-class players we have in Norway, with Haaland, with Ødegaard, with Sørloth, with Bob, with Sander Berge, I mean, it's never been better. And we have also good players on the bench. Some of them we saw yesterday, but it's a fantastic team. It's a lot of talent, and they are quite young as well. And they have a lot of them experiences on high level with top matches. Also, the guys from Norway, for example, a lot of players in the team are from Bodø/Glimt. They are played well in the European League and Champions League. So the players have also got quite much experience now on a high level. So it's absolutely a golden generation, and people in Norway are of course dreaming of this team can go very, very far. But now it's Ivory Coast, and the talk in Norway. Just have to say to you guys that if we beat Ivory Coast, the next match will probably be against Brazil, if Brazil beat Japan in their first knockout match. And as you guys remember, the big match in Norway, everybody's talking about it. 1998, we beat Brazil in the last group game match and got through to the next round. And that's the match everybody in Norway is still talking about, that match in 1998. Yeah. So it could be a new clash against Brazil if we beat Ivory Coast and Brazil beat Japan.
It's amazing stuff. And obviously the expectation, therefore, will be much higher from Norway fans. Because of this golden generation. But, Pal, just a word on the Norwegian fans. You know, we've been loving the Tartan Army, the Scottish fans that have made headlines since the start of the World Cup, but they're rivaled closely by your lot, whose sort of rowing woo chant has been unbelievable. It's great stuff.
Yeah, and yesterday, before the match, I'm in Oslo now, and yesterday, before the match against France, there was a world record attempt with most people rowing together at the same time.
Brilliant.
So it was 10,000s of people from the castle in Norway down the main street in Oslo, rowing all together. So it's fantastic to see, and I'm sure the Prime Minister and the King in Norway are very proud of what this football team does with the nation. We feel well and we're happy. It's summer, and well, we are in the World Cup still, and we lost yesterday, but the optimism and the fans are great, and that's important for every Norwegian. We are proud, and we hope the fun can go on for a couple of matches.
Absolutely, we want to see it as well, and it's like you say, winnable games. Ivory Coast in the round of 32, then Brazil or Japan. Again, teams that I think, Cass, you can absolutely get at. Pal Gordon Nielsen, thank you so much, mate. It's been really good to talk to you.
Cheers, pal. Bye-bye.
Gotta go.
He's rowing off. If you're not watching on YouTube Smart TV, he's rowing off the screen. Brilliant stuff. That's Norwegian football journalist Pal Gordon Nielsen. Remember, talkSPORT is now available to watch live in more places than ever, so you could see him rowing off after that world record attempt in Oslo yesterday. You can get it on Samsung TV Plus as well, so make sure you're tuning in for our wall-to-wall coverage throughout the World Cup. That's Samsung TV Plus for talkSPORT, and all the sports you know and love, you can watch us on Samsung TV Plus. This is the weekend World Cup breakfast on talkSPORT. Coming up next, more reaction from Spain, who knocked out Uruguay from the World Cup.
Listen, I love him, and people have asked me would I take him at Arsenal 100%. But you look at the last 2 seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last 2 seasons for PSG, the 2 Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out, they win back to back. It just doesn't look well.
Yeah,
Mbappe, does it?
You could say that he's responsible for that. But in the meantime, when you see what Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager, has changed, the way the team has changed, the unity, everybody is playing for each other, they're fighting for each other, on the pitch. And that's why, in every team they've met, they're beating because of that. They have the quality, but they show, real mentality, unity all together, the togetherness, But Kylian Mbappe, I think I won't be the guy who will say that he's the one responsible for the mess at Madrid. I think if you have Mbappe in your team, you are in a good position to win something. Yeah. It depends as well of other players, The ego of players, in Madrid is so huge and devastating, in the dressing room.
Is he the best player on the planet?
Actually?
Yeah.
I won't say that. He's one of them.
Who is?
This season? Or you're saying?
Right now. If you're going to maybe write a list of your top 5 players, who would be number 1 best player in the world right now?
I really love Olise. He's been amazing for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And the way he entered into the national team without any pressure, and the fight that he's doing exactly what he does with Bayern Munich. He plays with freedom and.
The 1982 World Cup gave us maybe the biggest redemption story in football. But to truly appreciate the rise of Paolo Rossi, we also have to understand his fall. 4 years earlier, in 1978, a 21-year-old Rossi was the next big thing in Italian football. His poacher's instinct in front of goal earned him a reputation, and he was constantly surrounded. Despite that, Rossi scored 3 goals as Italy secured a 4th-place finish. Then, in 1980, Italy was rocked by one of the most famous match-fixing scandals in football history, Toto Nero. It started when a market trader in Rome approached a restaurant owner whose venue was popular with professional footballers. The plan was simple: run an illegal betting operation where the public placed bets, not knowing that the players who ate at the restaurant were getting a cut to deliver certain results. The house and the players would always win. And it was all being run out of a Roman eatery. When a whistleblower went to the police, though, Rossi was suspended from football for 3 years. He consistently denied being involved and eventually had his ban reduced to 2 years. That allowed him to join Juventus for the final 3 games of the 82 season and win Serie A. And in those 3 games, Italy manager Enzo Bezzo saw a spark. Rossi was included in the World Cup squad and then the starting 11. In the groups, he did nothing. No goals, no assists, and the Italian public was begging for him to be dropped. Bear in mind, he'd played the likes of Peru and Cameroon and OK, Argentina. By the way, spot the very young Diego Maradona. Then, out of nowhere, he got a hat-trick against Brazil, another 2 in the semi-finals, and the opener in the final. Not only did he lift the trophy, he won the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball. It was maybe the biggest one-tournament turnaround the World Cup has ever seen. The whole story is so gloriously Italian, and considering he never played in a World Cup ever again, maybe it's one of football's greatest fairy tales.
Yeah, good morning. This is the World Cup weekend breakfast show. I'm Max Scott. I've got former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino alongside me, and you just heard it in Charlie's bulletin. Uruguay slumped to a shock early World Cup exit. But Marcelo Bielsa says he has left nothing to Uruguayan football. Here's how it sounded when they got knocked out thanks to Alex Baena.
Oh, Muslera's fumbled it. A terrible mistake by the veteran goalkeeper to gift Alex Baena the lead for Spain.
Shocking for Uruguay, but unbelievable for Cape Verde. They've made history by becoming the smallest nation to reach the knockout stage at a World Cup.
The Blue Sharks are in uncharted waters. Cape Verde, in their first ever World Cup, have made the round of 32.
Wonderful, wonderful story for Cape Verde. And of course, England play their final group stage game against Panama tonight. And Thomas Tuchel has warned that they're going to be a tough old task.
It's a complex one. We're in the role of the favourites. We have to do some stuff better, details better than against Ghana, but it's another challenge.
Give us a call, drop us a message on WhatsApp this morning. Cass and I have been talking about our birth stories after the back of this Jeremy Doku debacle. We're absolutely fine with him doing it, by the way, but Cass was saying how he wasn't there for the birth of his firstborn son because he was playing. My dad missed it because he was drinking whiskey with his mum in celebration. So I want you to text in 81089. What's the biggest thing you've missed in your life? 81089 or 03717223344. What's the biggest thing you've missed? You're listening to the World Cup weekend breakfast here on talkSPORT. Right, though, we are going to build up to some big games, the latest tournament action with Burger King.
The Breakfast Briefing on talkSPORT with Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app.
This is the final match in Guadalajara, and it promises to be an absolute cracker. With a shot on the turn, oh, Muslera's fumbled it! A terrible mistake by the veteran goalkeeper to gift Alex Baena the lead for Spain.
Nunez has completely lost his way. He didn't have the tool.
Verde robs Rodri now, slips the ball into the penalty area. Darwin Nunez allows it to run, but there was nobody behind it. Late challenge from Canobio, and he's off. A straight red card.
You know, I could be proved wrong, but the eye-catching players are playing for other nations, I'm afraid.
And Uruguay have run out of time. They are out of the World Cup. And is this the end of Marcelo Bielsa's coaching career?
Wow. Put it bluntly, is it the end for Marcelo Bielsa as a manager? Because Uruguay are out of the World Cup after another costly error by Fernando Muslera. It led to defeat by Spain, with head coach Marcelo Bielsa substituting the goalkeeper at half-time. Spain were practically guaranteed a place in the last 32 anyway, but Alex Baena's strike in the first half meant they topped Group H. They'll face the runners-up of Group J. We're going to talk Spain in a little moment, but Cass, on Uruguay, let's just go through their results. 1-1 draw with Saudi Arabia. By the way, Cape Verde got a draw with Saudi Arabia. They draw with Cape Verde, of course, and then they lose to Spain. This is a team, Cass, with Federico Valverde, the Real Madrid captain. This is a team with Ugarte, with Bentancur, with Darwin Nunez, Araujo. I mean, some of them they're not world beaters, but they're top players. Say what you want about Manuel Ugarte, he plays in top European football. This is, Marcelo Bielsa's career coming to a crashing end, isn't it?
Well, Marcelo Bielsa has always divided opinion, and the way he plays, the demands he puts on his players. I mentioned, I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure he had the Chile job for a period of time as well, and done very well with them. It's not the same with Uruguay. I don't know how to answer because Marcelo Bielsa is a one-off. Yeah. He's a maverick in his own world. He can do crazy things. I've heard this from Marseille because he was there, and from players I know at Marseille at that particular time. They would talk about him. He divided the press. Some, Leeds fans love him.
Yeah.
There's others that don't. Of course. Yeah.
I mean, the best thing to happen to Uruguay in this tournament was when Marcelo Bielsa refused to look at the cameras for the team walkout. Have you seen that clip? He's his own man, but it's sad that it's come to this, and it's sad also, Cass, that the goalkeeper's let him down so much with a couple of huge errors. You can't really account for that, and in a group which has been so tight, draws here and there.
I don't like the idea though of substituting our goalkeeper at half time.
But he's already had a clanger, and then he's had another clanger.
I know, but then don't select him in the first place. I just don't.
So you would.
I mean, look, the fact they've gone out is that they couldn't lay a glove on Spain as well. That was always their hardest game. It was their final game. They would have liked to have felt they were in a position to go into that final game not needing much. Maybe getting second spot, or maybe having the opportunity of already being qualified. They would have thought that. It didn't work out.
With the goalkeeper thing, you say you don't like to see him subbed. I've just been told that Bielsa said that the keeper has to be substituted at half time.
Oh, well, that's different. Yeah. That's totally different. Because I was going to say, that's a strange thing to do. I know there'll be people listening and say, hold it, that's a centre forward. You're given a privilege. You can sub centre forward, you can sub, but it's a unique position, the goalkeeper. Yeah. It's totally undermining him at a certain time. If he asked to, I would ask the question, why is he in the lineup in the first place? If he's asked to come off, because it can be pretty brutal in certain parts of the world regarding, certain players if they play badly and the reaction to them. I think it's just one of them tournaments. It's probably, we read the stuff about in the Daily Mail this morning about Scotland and the goings on with Scotland, how unhappy the group were and blah, blah, blah. I would imagine it would have been the same thing with Bielsa and Uruguay. It's been a really poor tournament for them.
It has been a really poor tournament. They're out. They're gone. Spain, meanwhile, are through to the round of 32. What do you make of it, Cass? I don't really feel that a 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia really gives a team lift-off, particularly if they're European champions. Draw with Cape Verde. Obviously, that 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia. And then a 1-0 win against Uruguay, totally undercooked, down to 10 men right at the end of the game. Are you fearing Spain as much, Cass, as, let's say, you're fearing France?
Well, I would say is that the ultimate goal was to win their group. They've achieved that, Spain. Yeah. They've won it, and they've won it quite comfortably. Did they play well in their first game? No, they didn't. No, they didn't play at all when they drew with Cape Verde. Didn't play, like with Recco. But they had no Nico Williams and had no Lamine Yamal.
But still, though, you still should go and beat them. A little bit like England-Ghana.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter how low they defend, and you've got better players. Even if your best ones aren't all there, you go and beat them.
I think Spain will probably be more likely to be a completely different team in the knockout stages. That's what I think.
Yeah.
The bigger possibility, because they've got some, very talented players, and they will probably be at full strength by the time they play the knockout games. So, have they shone in the group phase? No, but they've won their group.
They're going to face either Algeria or Austria, Cass. Some of these draws are incredible. Japan, amazing team. They're going to face Brazil. But then USA got Bosnia. Spain, European champions, got Algeria or Austria. It is really a lottery, isn't it? And England previously have had really favourable routes to the latter stages, not necessarily this time round either. So you are the sort of the victims of the supercomputer in that sense.
Absolutely, and it does make an important. Still, I think Austria. Who Austria they got?
Austria or Algeria?
Yeah, I would imagine that 9 times out of 10, most of us would agree that Spain will probably beat both of Algeria and Austria. So the luck of the draw. Take advantage of it. Then, if you get it, take it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a roundup of all the latest action, thanks to Burger King.
On talkSPORT with Burger King Burger Buddies. Iconic winners delivered in the box every time. Order now on the BK app.
We're asking you on text 81089, what's the biggest thing you've ever missed in your life? I'm loving this. Lee, the Forest fan. He said, I didn't miss the game, but I missed the winning goal at Wembley that got Forest promoted to the Premier League because my 4-year-old son needed a number 2 and I was helping him hover over the toilet at the exact moment the goal went in. Lee, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Best day of my life is that game at Wembley. Keep your text coming in, 81089.
One of the best things I missed, I'd say not the worst, what's the worst side, but the best things, because I was living in France and Gillingham played Man City in the playoff final. And Gillingham were 2-0 up with minutes to go. And I decided to go and make a cup of tea, and Man City scored twice.
Was that the Dickoff game?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm glad I didn't see it.
Well, give it to us. The best thing you missed or the worst thing you've missed. Something massive you've missed in your life. 8, 10, 89. You're listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast Show on talkSPORT.
What have you made of Stevie Clark? He's come under the spotlight for how he's handled the journalists. He's come under the spotlight how he's set up Scotland, certainly in the second game as well. And some people have even questioned why he's had his term there extended before this World Cup. What do you make of that?
Well, Stevie Clark, I played against him, and I know him, and he's not as Jose, you know. He's a very quiet guy, to be honest. And you have to look at what he's achieved as Scotland manager. It's brilliant, absolutely up there with the best. So. You know, people have got to realise in the press, I know the press getting on this, you know, this storm of the fans and the Tartan Army and we party and all that, but the press have got to realise, you know, where our players play, who they play for in the big league and the World League. And we've done well to get there. We could have qualified, and I don't think we will. I think Steve Clark's been frank and he's been honest. And I think he's right. There's too many permutations against us. Which is going to, again, we're going to be crying losers, you know, oh, if only. I had it in 82. You know, we should have beaten Russia in the final game. We drew 2-2 because we conceded 2 goals against New Zealand first game, 15th of June. So we knew it was going to be tough. And that was a side where soon as Hansen, Dalglish, Strachan, etc., you know, it was a John Robertson, great side. It's not easy when you get the big league. And, you know, the final stages, and I'm afraid we're just going to be, once again, we're just going to fall short. But it's a shame because the punters are brilliant. But I think the press have got to look at themselves and say, we're a small nation, we maybe have underachieved again. But thinking about it, looking at what Steve Clark's done, he's not...
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Yeah, good morning. You're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, and with me is former Chelsea and Millwall striker Tony Cascarino. We're asking about the biggest things in your life that you have missed, and the texts are flying in. Lee, United fan, I missed John Terry's slip penalty in the Champions League final as I was helping the old bloke next to me find his glasses in the stand. Good on you, the good Samaritan, Lee.
Yeah, hold it. That's 2 misses then, because John missed the penalty.
Exactly, there you go. Jess from Bristol, not me, but my dad missed Roberto Di Matteo's goal in the Chelsea versus Middlesbrough FA Cup final because I wanted a hot dog at the last minute and he'd gone to get me one. Wow. What a dad. Had it been absolutely not, Jess. But fair play. This is a good one. No name on this, but I've missed the Arsenal parade due to being vertically challenged. I waited 22 years to see it, and the biggest bloke in the world turned up in front of me. Story of my life. And then away from football, again, no name on this one. This is devastating. This is one of the most historic moments in cricket. I went to Headingley in 2019, England versus Australia on the Saturday. I went out that evening and missed Ben Stokes' winning innings on the Sunday, as me and my mate were somewhere at 3 a.m, too hungover to go. Wow.
Yeah, happens. We've all missed stuff.
And this is, of course, Jeremy Doku saying he's refusing to miss the birth of his child. Cass saying, sorry, Jeremy, but I missed my first one, wasn't it, Michael?
Yeah.
Playing for Millwall. My dad missed my birth because he was drinking whiskey with his mum. So give us some of the things that you've missed in your life, 8, 10, 89. But time now to check in with the odds, the latest odds with our good friends at Coral.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here to reward the fans this summer. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Okay, delighted to say joining us is Mr. David Stevens, friend of the show. How you doing, Dave?
David.
Good, gents. Good morning, Cass, Mass. Good morning. Listen, I've got to tell, it's not me, this story about missing something, but it happened to, I was there, two very good friends of mine, Ollie Bell, son of Rupert Bell, the racing presenter, obviously, Ollie, and another mate of ours, Tom Stanley, a racing presenter. We were at the Cricket World Cup final, England, New Zealand, at Lord's.
No.
And I think Ollie had a bet. And it looked on England, and it looked like New Zealand were going to win. And he left, shall we say, quite abruptly. And Tom, who was staying with Ollie that weekend, felt he had to go as well. And another mate of ours, we stayed there. And obviously it went to the Super Over. So we texted him and said, boys, you need to come back. Of course, by this time, they'd already got outside the ground.
No.
The groundsman was having none of it, letting them back in. So Ollie came out with that then to make it the immortal line. But I'm Ben Stokes' brother. You've got to let me back in. I mean, the whole thing was an absolute comedy. They won't thank me, obviously, for telling this on talkSPORT again, but I have to, because when you miss something like that, and needless to say, as mates, we've never let them forget it.
As you should.
On the betting front, David, when France won the World Cup in '98, you're obviously in Paris. You couldn't bet like we do, and we have the stores here. They have the Paris match, don't they? Which is different. I done a treble, and it all came in, and I asked mate to put it on, and he didn't put it on.
No.
Yeah, and it included France winning the World Cup.
On that note, Cass and Dave, on the betting, Ed says went to Ascot when Frankie Dettori won all 7 races, didn't back him once. Talk about missing out, unbelievable.
Well, it's okay if you go for it. If you've gone, I'm going to have this bet, or and it don't come in, and miss that opportunity. But someone else letting you down, like I felt, didn't get it on, mate. And I was like, And of course, it all changed. The betting prices change after, Anyway, Dave, what are the targets today? What are we looking at today? Obviously, England are playing, so we better start there, I suppose.
Let's start with England off the back of, let's give Ghana credit, actually. I'm not sure Ghana have had the credit they deserve. Carlos Queiroz, I think, showed all his tactical nous, set Ghana up to achieve what they got. In terms of England, though, it's still in our hands comfortably. They'll win the group. They're 6-1 on, 15-2 the draw, 12-1 Panama. So look, it comes down to what we think correct score. I mean, Harry Kane is a very short price. He's 2-5 to score any time. He's only just under 2-1 to score 2. He's only 6-1 to score a hat trick. Of course, the last time these two teams met in a World Cup, 6-1, 33-1 if you fancy a repeat of that. But realistically, Cass, Max, I mean, 2-0, 5-1, 3-0, 11-2. That's the sort of outcome we're thinking. Does that feel right?
Yeah. Look, England are big favourites. They don't have cigars on today. Sorry.
Yeah, I just think, Dave, what we saw from Thomas Tuchel after that half-time team talk against Croatia, we saw a reaction. Ghana defended, as you rightly say, so well. I don't think, obviously, England weren't able to make any dent in that game. I've just got a feeling that in the spirit of Thomas Tuchel saying, if we lose our way, we need to play our way, I think we're going to see that sort of determined performance today from Panama. So I like the bet sort of 3-0 personally.
Yeah.
Because I think they need to prove a point to themselves. It seems to me that players are all together, everyone's getting on, they really believe something's special. And yes, the momentum has taken a downturn because that Ghana game, I think they're going to come out absolutely flying, and I'm expecting lots of goals today. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I think look, all England fans will be hoping that's the case as we head then, as I say, into the last 32. Look, I mentioned Ghana. I think they're overpriced, Cass, against Croatia. Croatia are odds on 8-11. And it feels like Ghana just under 4-1 to win. The draw's just over 2-1. I feel like, again, around the sort of 10-11 mark, Ghana to get something from this game. Do you see that, or am I barking up the wrong tree?
Well, they showed enough. I mean, to be fair, it has been talked about, the penalty incident, isn't it, against England? You know, and
it was a Stonewall penalty.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they could have been in position to win the group, Ghana. So, yeah, and I don't think Croatia, I said to you before, Dave, I don't think Croatia, the Croatian team, and rightly so with the age of their players, but they just don't look as good a quality as what I'd expect from, say, the 2018 period and afterwards.
Yeah. Again, I thought, we saw that in that performance against England, particularly second half when England were dominant. Plenty to play for. I mean, Colombia versus Portugal for the top of that group. Portugal seems short enough to me at just over even money. 12-5 Colombia, 13-5 the draw. DR Congo, I feel like they deserve a win. The way they played in this tournament, they're 8-13 to get it against 4-1 shots with Uzbekistan. Algeria-Austria is a fascinating one because, of course, a draw will suit both teams. Now, we're not for 1 minute suggesting neither of these teams will be trying to win, but the draw is 11-10, which, as you know, Kath, is very short in a football match. 3-1 Algeria, Austria just under 2-1. But then the winner, the second group, I think the second team in that group will play Spain. Do you want to play? I mean, look, there's so much potential up there. And then the final one, Argentina, 6-1 on to win their final game. And interesting, just heard you saying earlier, Max, about how you've seen nothing from Spain that would sort of almost make you fear them. Argentina have now replaced them as second favourites, 5-1, behind 130 France. England out to 7-1 after that draw. So France very much the most impressive so far, but Argentina, the big shorteners.
David, just briefly, before we go to the racing, what chance have Scotland got on to qualify? Because obviously, as the games go by, it's getting more doom and gloom after every result.
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me this because I was depressing enough for Scotland fans yesterday when they were 33-1 on not to qualify, 12-1 to qualify. It's 50-1 on cast not to qualify, 16-1 to qualify. I'm afraid it's over, isn't it? There's too many outcomes that need to happen. And as I say, I feel bad because, as I say, I was pretty gloomy about Scotland yesterday, and I didn't want to repeat that today. But there we go. That is the reality of the situation.
Yeah, sadly it is for the Tartan Army. And just quickly, Dave, we've got some racing on today and a bit of cricket. I was really impressed with Ben Duckett in particular yesterday. 113. Jacob Bethel got his really quick half century. England 223 for 2, chasing at 438. Really good response from the boys, and Ben Stokes, of course, back in the limelight after that sort of botched investigation, you could say.
Yeah, I thought, England were up against it after New Zealand racked up 400 plus, but the betting has flipped right round. England are now odds-on favourites, 5-6. I mean, look, we've seen England collapse before, Max. So I'm not sure odds-on I want to be backing them when they're still that far behind. But 9-2 New Zealand, 7-4 the draw. Joe Root to score a first innings 100 is 2-1. Ollie and Tom, if you're going to that, don't leave early. And then up at racing, big day up at Newcastle. It's the Northumberland Plate, or the Pitman's Derby as it's known up there. Circus of Rome heads the betting at 9-2 ahead of Ride the Thunder at 5-1. And over at the Curragh in Ireland, big weekend. Irish Derby tomorrow. Bit of a rematch from Epsom between Christmas Day and Benvenuto Cellini. But it's thundering on the filly for Joseph O'Brien, who should be the star of the show today. She's odds on to win the Pretty Polly over there. So fantastic weekend as we build up to England tonight.
Dave, as always, absolute pleasure having you on, mate. Thanks, and enjoy your weekend.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, David.
Brilliant. That was Dave. And a look at the latest odds with Coral. 18 plus, be gamble aware. Please gamble responsibly.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here to reward the fans this summer. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Benty has been terrified all week about the Ghanaian witch doctor. He slagged off.
No, he did not.
Supposedly putting a curse on Harry Kane and England's number 9, subsequently missing a sitter. Now, thankfully, the witch doctor, of course, lifted the curse.
It's funny.
Right. Now, there was a report in The Sun that you, Emmanuel, were cursed by a witch doctor.
It's Senegal.
Ignored it
2002.
and got injured.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, before the World Cup in 2002. No, after the World Cup, actually, because we went out very quickly, during the World Cup in Asia. And when I came back, I was in holidays in south of France, and I had a friend, he was selling watches, on the beach, and he was expecting me. He was waiting for me for days. And then when he saw me, he came to me straight away and he said, I'm so happy to see you because I have something important to tell you. And I said, what is it? And he said, you have to be very careful because you have, how can I say that?
Curse?
A curse, yeah, on you. And you have to follow exactly what I'm going to tell you. And I said, what is it? He said, you have to go in Africa and you have to buy a cow and you have to kill it. And you have to follow.
Bit detailed and extreme, that one.
Yeah, but I said, listen, I understand and I really appreciate that. But this is your traditions and I'm not into it. So I won't do it. And 6 months later, I had to stop. But is it coincidental link? I won't say that,
Oh, so what happened to you? You got injured?
Yeah. And
they
cut my leg in 2 parts, so I had to stop playing football.
Did you get injured kicking a cow?
No.
Hold on.
To win the World Cup gives you the ultimate bragging right. To win it as a player and a manager, that's like completing football. And only 3 have ever done it. Mario Zagallo with Brazil, Franz Beckenbauer with West Germany, Didier Deschamps with France. Statistically, though, who's the best? Let's start with this guy, Mario Zagallo. He won the World Cup as a player in 1958 and 62, winning 10 of his 12 games across 2 tournaments, and the other 2 were draws. As a manager, he won 9 of 13 across 2 tournaments, including all 6 played by his iconic Brazil side in 1970, a win rate of 76%. Franz Beckenbauer had a slightly better managerial record, winning 10 of 14, but his playing record was a tiny bit worse, winning 14 out of 18. That gives him 24 wins in 32 in total, a 75% win rate. And finally, Deschamps, who won the only World Cup he played at in 1998. Until 2026, he'd coached France at 3 World Cups, winning 14 of 19 games. Look at that, a combined 20 wins in 25 games. Crazy. An overall win rate of 80%. So, based on the stats, it goes Deschamps, Zagallo, and then Beckenbauer. But let's be real, there's no losers here.
Yeah, good morning. This is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, alongside former Marseille Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino. Some of your headlines this morning. Leandro Trossard scored a brace as Belgium thrashed New Zealand 5-1 to reach the World Cup knockouts. In just over 48 hours, Scotland's chances of reaching the World Cup knockouts have dropped from 42% to 0.42%. And former Chelsea captain John Terry shared his disappointment in not getting the chance to interim manage after Chelsea sacked Enzo Maresca in January. Here's Terry speaking on White and Jordan earlier this week.
My dream is to manage Chelsea one day. Will it ever happen if I don't go off and do the other bits? No, it won't. But when an opportunity arises like it did last year when Liam left the football club, There was nobody better. There was no one more qualified. I can't believe I'm going over this again. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go for it.
But it's like, for me, there's no one more Chelsea. And listen, the owners, sporting directors have made a decision. That's what they go with. But the fans were calling for me. I felt I deserved an opportunity, whether it was for 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. We had a London derby against Spurs. We had a semi-final against Leeds. I just thought I should have been in and around it, or be asked to be in and around it.
Makes a good point there, Cass.
I always believe that legends of the football club should always have an opportunity to manage one day. Obviously, they've got to earn their stripes. Like Steven Gerrard, earned his stripes going via the academy to Rangers and then gets the Aston Villa job. But I always feel there's a chance you should be, because Kenny Dalglish, he was given that chance, and he was given it as a player manager at first at Liverpool because of his stature at the football club. Now he won the title with Liverpool and won things. And I always feel that you have to give them the opportunity somewhere along the way. That doesn't mean you're discarding other people from ever getting a job, but that was, as John said, that was a perfect opportunity to go, John, step in, take over the club.
Yeah.
You know it. He'll know it for the academy side, all the people involved. And I just think it's not a given. It's not you're given that privilege. You just have that privilege, but there is a part of that you get the fans on side for a period to get. But he's got to earn his stripes as well.
Well, yeah, he does. But I'm torn on this. He's contributed to the academy. He's coaching there, right? For me, he's a shoo-in for it because he's Mr. Chelsea, and as he said, he's got cup finals, etc., etc. But there must be a reason they're not, though, Cass, because it's so obvious.
But there's people that have played the game, and I'll give you one. Bobby Moore, right? Bobby Moore was discarded from nearly everything, and he was one of the greatest players ever. And he ends up going, his first job was Southend.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And it's like, this is a World Cup winner. He should have managed West Ham at some stage. Whether it worked or it didn't, most managers it doesn't work for. But there's certain people that have to be given a job of the highest calibre.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I can't help but feel a bit sorry for him. He was speaking to Jim White and Simon Jordan there. A reminder that Jim White is back this Saturday with Crook for the World Cup weekender from 1 p.m. this afternoon. Now, we talked earlier about Norway in the last hour. They were on the wrong end of that heavy 4-1 defeat to tournament favourites France. Ousmane Dembele scored a hat-trick in 32 minutes to help see them to 3 more points. Desiree Doué scored the 4th in injury time. And I'm delighted to say now, joining us is a member of the 2006 France World Cup side, former Spurs defender Pascal Jimbonda. Pascal, thanks so much for joining us, mate. How are you?
Hi, Pascal.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, I got to ask you, Pascal. Watching this French team, and people will go, yeah, well, maybe you can get at them defensively, but as an attacking side, they are scarily good.
I think we get the best four or six best forward in that World Cup, because when you see our bench is full of talent, but when Dembele, Olise, Mbappe, and Bakola on the pitch, I think we're on fire. But we're just a bit shaky in the back. But I think if we score more goals than the opponent, I think we go through for all.
Pascal, in 2006, you had Thierry Henry, Zinedine Zidane, Sylvain Wiltord. The list is endless. Saha as well. An absolutely star-studded team. How do you think that one you played in compares to this one now?
I think this one is because at our time I won't say we was all, but we was more experienced people, And this guy, this time, they younger, they full of energy, they can win all day. So yeah, I think, and the more talented as well. I think compared to what the squad we got on in 2006, and I think yes, France is my favorite team to win the World Cup this year.
There was a moment, I think it was the French-Senegal match, where I saw Mbappe do something I've not seen him do at club level very often, and that was he literally chased a defender to literally make a tackle. And I thought, that is really different. We know how good he is attacking-wise, but watching him actually defend for the team as well, I thought, Pascal, that was a big moment.
Yeah, it's a big moment because this is a big competition, Everyone want to win it, So, yes, if you want to win it, you have to do it to the job from the front and defense like with your teammates. So I think if they stick together and keep doing the same things, as a team, and I think they won't have any problem to go through.
Do you trust Kylian Mbappe defensively? Cass made a really good point there. And do you think that that's something that he'll do sort of week in, week out for France in this tournament?
I think yes, because you don't have a plenty game, compared to a league game, So this is a short tournament. So I think, yes, he can do it. He can do it for this tournament, but compared to the league, it's different, know.
Pascal, tell us what the feeling is in France. I mean, they know they've got a good team. I class France as the Brazilian European team now because they're so exciting. They remind me of the early Brazilian great sides. How do the French people look at this French team because they are so gifted?
Yeah, they're so gifted because in France, I think you have plenty of generation of players. They coming through the good academy, so that's why we feed the French team all the time. So that's why in France we always have a talent, So and I think years and years, and I think will never stop.
What team do you fear the most for France heading into this? For me, as an England fan, it's France by far and away. Of course, you've got Argentina, you've got Spain, some really difficult teams in there. For me, it's France. Who do you fear most heading into the knockout stages of the World Cup?
I think France is my favorite team, like I said before, You got Spain, you got Argentina, and maybe England,
Maybe. What's the feeling like towards England? Do the French think that England can go far, or do you just think, you never do it?
It's just a game, I mean, it's just one game, It's like if you give everything and you do everything, it's your day. So, yes, anything can happen in a football game. So, yes, you just need to trust yourself and play as a team, I know they've been criticized a lot, but the fan have to be behind the team and trust the process.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And you, Pascal, what are you up to these days? What are you doing with yourself?
I just keep myself busy, like keep doing some coaching, and try to go into academy to go higher in my coaching experience,
Are you doing that in France?
No, I based in England.
Based in England, okay, great. That's really good.
Pascal, I've got to ask because you've played for some top sides, namely Tottenham, right? And you, for me, played in a time where Spurs played some of the most entertaining football they've played in a long time in a Premier League that was, for me, much more entertaining to watch. But I've got to ask, because I went to school in Doncaster and you had a brief spell at Doncaster Rovers. What was that like, mate?
No, I did. We had a good team on the paper. Yes.
On paper?
Yeah, on paper, yeah. But on the pitch, we wasn't coordinated, We wasn't doing the job, And I think it was really disappointing, and we put the club in a bad situation.
Pascal, I've got to ask you because if you go down the leagues in England, you still get good crowds, and I've never seen it anywhere else in the world. And I played in France, and if you played Ligue 2, or the third division, or you would find yourself that small crowds, not many people. But in England, it's very different, isn't it? In comparison.
Yeah, in England it's very different because people, they love the game in England. I think the fans, they live for that. So compared to France, France is, if you don't play in a premier division in France, I think you won't have crowd to come in to watch the game, or I think it'd be a bit boring.
Yeah, absolutely. Pascal, the streets will never forget, mate. Absolute legend. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Pleasure.
Pascal, bye.
That is Pascal Jimbonda, of course, former Spurs defender, but in that 2006 French World Cup side. Unbelievable. Great to have him with us. Now, we're going to continue a little bit more World Cup chat. We're going to focus in on England in a moment, but we've been asking you what's some of the big things you've missed in your life, and the texts are absolutely flying in. I want to give you a couple here. In 1966, as a 9-year-old watching England in the World Cup final on a black and white TV, I had the concentration of a goldfish. At full time with the game drawn, I decided to go out and ride my bike to relieve the pressure and boredom. When I got back home from my bike, England and Jeff Hurst had won the World Cup. We got another 1966 one from John. He says, I missed the 66 World Cup final because I was on a train to an RAF base with the air cadets for summer camp. I remember the streets in Newquay being completely empty. When we arrived, we finally got the score and heard the whole town erupt. Unbelievable. We've got loads of stuff. We're going to read more out. Keep your texts in 81089. What's some of the biggest things you have missed? You're listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast on talkSPORT. Next up, we're going to get the best bits across the station from this World Cup.
Manchester City have agreed a £116 million deal to sign Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. The fee, as you might have guessed, is the most ever paid for a British player and represents a new record for Manchester City. He's 23, Anderson, and has now been given permission to undertake a medical right here in New York today, with the deal subject to the finalising of personal terms. You would think that'll get done quick style. Alex, Elliot Anderson, this is a remarkable rise, isn't it?
Certainly is, when you think that he went from Newcastle to Forest for a relatively modest sum. I know Eddie Howe at the time didn't particularly want to cash in, but obviously they had issues with PSR.
Yep.
It's interesting, the figures. City side are saying 116 million. Forest side are saying actually it's nearer to 130 million. Either way, it's a record, as you say, for a British player, potentially a Premier League record fee, eclipsing what Liverpool paid for Alexander Isak this time last year. I was speaking to a couple of ex-players at the darts last night, and we were pondering, if Elliot Anderson is really a £130 million player, how much would someone like Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? I think he's a terrific player, Elliot Anderson. I'm not sure he's a £130 million player.
Well, sure. He joined Forest, as Alex says, from Newcastle in a £35 million deal in 2023. So, not so long after that, we've now arrived at 116 million.
Well, brilliant business for Forest. If I'm going to my chairman and I'm going to buy him, let's say, I've got my Manchester City head on, and the figure's up near 130 million, I would be very...
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Yeah, good morning. This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast Show on talkSPORT. I'm Max Scott, alongside a man who played in 2 World Cups. Now, we've been asking you big things you've missed. Cass missed the birth of his firstborn because he's playing for Millwall. None of this Jeremy Doku stuff. My dad missed mine because he was drinking whiskey. And we got a great text from Kyle. This is a big one. Oh, not Kyle, sorry, someone else, a United fan. I was a young lad at Old Trafford watching Newcastle play Manchester United. I bent down to pick up my drink, and as I got up, the crowd cheered, including the Newcastle fans. My dad turned to me and said, "Did you just see that?" When I said no, he said, "I just missed the best goal I'd ever seen. It was Rooney's volley."
Yes.
Against when he was fuming, arguing with the ref, runs off, scores that volley.
Yeah.
He's missed it. Absolute shocker. Keep those texts coming in. We'll get a little bit of time later to read some of those out. But also, we're building up to a big day of World Cup action. But do not forget, a massive run of DAZN's Saturday Fight Nights continues. Tonight, two princes collide in Brooklyn as Xander Zayas defends his world middleweight title against Jaron Boots Ennis. Join DAZN Ultimate and get access to 12 plus pay-per-view events every year, including Zayas versus Boots today at no extra cost.
I thought that was
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
When you said the two princes there, Max, I was going to say, was it William versus Harry?
I tell you what, I paid to see that. Sign me up to DAZN if Eddie Hearn can get the two princes in the ring. Unbelievable.
He can achieve a lot, Eddie. He can. So.
I tell you what, if not, get Turkey on it. Turkey Al Sheikh will do it. All right, time now for a bit of this. Yeah, this is Show Me TalkSport, where we take a look at what's been happening across this great, big, beautiful network. And we've been melting over here in the UK, but over in the States, Shabana Hearn had the perfect way to cool off live on TalkSport.
Everyone's been so lovely. I'm going to put my feet in the pool, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, Shabana, jump in there, Shabana. Shabana, just jump in. You need to go and cool off and get out of that hot weather and just go and, yeah. I bet she won't jump in.
I've just done my hair, man.
Yeah, she's done her hair and she's also wearing...
Do you want to dare me?
Just get a little speedo.
Dare me, I
bet you won't go in there.
You watch.
You won't do it. Go on, Shabana. No chance. Come on. She's doing it. Yeah. She's doing it. She's doing it. Scotland. Yeah. We love you, Shabana. I don't know if you can still hear us, but you're the best.
Shaban, if you, I'm sure you could hear it if you're watching. Shaban just takes a mic, takes a radio earpiece off, jumps straight in the pool. Unbelievable.
No, I find that quite amazing that Shaban does certain things. She said some things to me on air, so I laugh. Sometimes I look at her, I don't know what to say, but it's funny. It's very funny.
Yeah.
When before I didn't see that clip. I didn't know what happened. But as soon as it was mentioned, I'm thinking Shaban's going to jump in.
And she said, "Do you want to dare me?"
Yeah.
So she wanted to do it.
Oh, no, definitely do it.
Yeah,
loved
it. Yeah. That was on the S Words TalkSport's new USA-based show, 7 days a week, 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. every day live on YouTube. If you can't get enough of me, by the way, I'm sticking around and hosting that this Saturday. That's the S Word on TalkSport's YouTube channel. Speaking of Scotland as well, Big Al Brazil was back on breakfast and asked if Scotland can still make it through.
I'm signing for Juventus tomorrow as well. Not a chance. I'm sorry, we blew it, and we didn't land a letter. We got away with murder because that was a clear goal for Vinicius for me. It wasn't a free kick, so we got away with murder. We should have learnt a lesson. And I'm all for, I don't want to go on about it, playing out from the back. If you've got players that can play out from the back, fine. But not when you're playing against quality opposition. They're going to pressure you with pace. Don't take, sometimes you have to try and get a draw or a result playing ugly. And I'm afraid the fans will whinge at 90 minutes, but after that, we're in, we're through at the next stage. And I think that's what we should have done. We weren't going to outplay Brazil. It's very, very gallant to try and play the football from the back and work our way forward. Nah, I think we had to do a Ghana job, get behind the ball and fight for our lives and try and keep it 1-0, or even if a draw would have been amazing.
Great to see Al, sharp as ever, looking good. Brilliant to see, isn't it?
Well, he's talking more sense now than he's ever done now, isn't he?
Now, operation's probably sorted him out.
No, and he's right. The idea of playing out from the back is great. He played with some great players, people like Alan Hansen of Scotland, centre-half who could clearly play from the back. They still got beat the Alan Hansen team 4-1 in Brazil in 82.
Yeah.
So it can happen. But I think that the downside for Scotland is a lot of Scottish fans will feel like, OK, we've been beaten by Brazil.
Yeah.
But the way they've got knocked out in the last 2 games and how poorly they've played in the 3 games, apart from an odd period here and there in the 3 games, they didn't play well. Even against Haiti, they didn't play well.
Couldn't agree more. I'm pretty sure they've had 1 shot on target since the Haiti game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's shocking. Fair play to Alan Brazil. He's absolutely bang on. And what's surprising?
Haven't they got the worst in the tournament, these shots on target?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're the lowest.
Says it all.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the World Cup breakfast show, they've been having a go at me.
I was asking the guys, is it acceptable for men to walk down the street in this heat
No.
with your top off?
No, absolutely not.
No.
He hates that, him.
You hate that?
I do. I see, I don't know what they're called, but young lads, there's a name for them. I don't know what the kids call them. In their cars, top off, seatbelt on, music loud.
Well, do I have news for you? Max told me that he was on his way to an interview yesterday in his car, top off.
Well, he's an idiot. You know, honestly, there's no place on the planet where taking off a thin T-shirt will cool you down. Leave it on, mate. Especially if you look like
Have you got
Max.
problems in the gym? You know that, obviously, you're
No, there
a member
should
of
be
the
aircon, right?
Yeah, but still, I've seen guys in the gym lifting weights, no top on.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That is,
No
they're
top
going to smell as well. It's disgusting.
What I will say is I don't have aircon in my car because it's gone, right? In the Mrs. Mini Cooper, it's gone. It was absolutely sweltering. I was on my way with Gabs to interview Emil Heskey. We're going to hear from him a little bit later ahead of the England game. And I thought, I cannot go and speak to Emil Heskey with a T-shirt drenched in sweat. It was about 35 daggers, and I thought, I'm in the comfort of my own car. Fair enough, Cass, I'm not going to do it on the tube or on the train or have my top off on the street. But in my car, when it's 35 degrees, fair play, no?
Well, I'm not one for taking my top off. And by the way, when I was living in France, you'll get fined if you take your top off.
Well, we're not in France.
No, I know we're not.
Thank the Lord.
But I do like the idea of keeping tops on.
Coming out from all angles, Cass. It was 35 degrees down
Okay, yeah, I'm not a fan of tops off, but yeah, and there are certain countries you can't take off your top, and I get it, you know. But you obviously, I mean,
do I not get a little bit of grace from you?
No,
35
because
degrees.
Andy's right. Taking a thin T-shirt don't really change much.
No, but
You're still gonna
it did
sweat.
change the fact that I didn't turn up looking like a wet rat, drowned rat, with Emil Heskey.
2 T-shirts, have one on and take another one with you.
To be fair, it's good advice, but I'm not having that. I'm not having it at all. It's absolutely boiling, although I would never do it in public. Don't worry, you do not want to see that. I remind you can listen to Andy Goldstein back on breakfast on Monday from 6 a.m, waiting for the great return of Alan Brazil. But coming up next, we're going to be talking England, looking ahead to that game against Panama.
When you look at Scotland over the 3 games, David, what is your overall assessment and takeaway? I mean, most of us looked at it and felt that Morocco and Brazil would be a reach to get anything from, and that the outcome of the Haitian game would be important and that goals needed to be scored. Criticism is being made of Steve Clark. I'm not asking you to jump on the bandwagon, but the manner in which Scotland have played, the lack of bravery, the fact that they've been very negative in lots of people's minds, and Steve as a defensive coach. When you hear all those things, what's your assessment of these 3 games and the opportunities that Scotland have either taken or missed?
Yeah. Well, we spoke the other day. I think the biggest word what you're missing here, Simon, is quality. I don't think Scotland have the quality at the moment available to them to compete. I'm not saying that on the odd day that you wouldn't beat one of these teams and get good results, which we did against Denmark, for example, when we get through those games. But I just feel that generally Scotland have been short at that level. We talked about it a few days ago when we were talking about the Haiti game and only winning 1-0. We all felt it was a really good result. Not a really good result, but a good result because we had got 3 points. But you were right.
It's 2010, and the Goalkeepers Union is up in arms. Why? This thing, the Jabulani, perhaps the most famous World Cup match ball for moving, it seemed, in 3 directions at once. But that wasn't the first match ball row, not by a long shot. In 1930, the World Cup final began with a fight, not between the players, but about the ball. Argentina brought theirs, and Uruguay brought theirs. And when neither backed down, they played 45 minutes with each. Uruguay with the classics, sure, but they could double in weight during a thunderstorm. Before we go on, I will tell you that the 1962 ball was called Mr. Crack. A ball that was so heavy when wet, several European teams refused to use it. Instead, the 1958 Top Star was used, most famously for the quarter-final between Czechoslovakia and Hungary. By 66, we had the Slazenger Challenge. Because people watched They Think It's All Over in black and white, we forget the ball was actually bright orange or red, whatever that colour is. But it looked like a floating smudge to people at home. The World Cup match ball needed a makeover. Enter the Telstar. 32 black and white panels. It was stylish, it was modern, and it meant goalkeepers could finally see the thing that was about to ruin their afternoon. It was also the start of an Adidas monopoly. 1986 was the dawn of a new age. The Azteca was the first fully synthetic ball, meaning it didn't soak up water. Recently, though, things have got weird. 2002 gave us the Fever Nova, basically a high-tech frisbee, and then, of course, the Jabulani. Today, the balls have internal sensors that tell the VAR room if someone breathed on it. We've come a long way. But the ball's not the main thing, is it, FIFA? It's just a ball.
Good morning. How are you? The last hour of the World Cup weekend breakfast show on talkSPORT. I'm Max Scott. He's former Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino. We're reacting to a big consequential night in the World Cup as Uruguay slumped to a shock early World Cup exit after Baena's strike sends Spain through to the knockouts.
Oh, Muslerra's fumbled it. A terrible mistake by the veteran goalkeeper to gift Alex Baena the lead for Spain.
Meanwhile, Cape Verde have made history by becoming the smallest ever nation to reach the knockout stages of a World Cup.
The Blue Sharks are in uncharted waters. Cape Verde, in their first ever World Cup, have made the round of 32.
And as we build up to England versus Panama, Thomas Tuchel's warned against any complacency.
It's a complex one. We're in the role of the favourites. We have to do some stuff better, details better than against Ghana, but it's another challenge.
We're going to be bringing you plenty of England chat in this last hour of the show. Give us a call, drop us a WhatsApp message, 810 89 03717 223344. Raise the Wolves fan said he missed the Man United Bayern Munich 1999 Champions League final because he'd had a meal that did not end well. Disastrous effect, he says. And we've also seen people missing the 66 World Cup final as well. Get in touch. This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast on talkSPORT. Right, we're chatting England now as Thomas Tuchel's men play their final group stage game against, and it says here, the Panamanians. I've never heard that before. The Panamanians. Is that?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, fair play. I've just never heard it.
Yeah.
Cue the package.
That is that. It's a point for Ghana to
they're celebrating like they've won as well. They might. They've held England in the World Cup.
What a load of rubbish that was. I mean, you get your hopes up every single time with England. That simply was not good enough.
Dross. Absolute dross, mate. It was horrendous.
To be honest, England got away with it because Pickford should have been sent off.
England can and has to play better.
Let's not get too downhearted. It's not a bad result. We're not going out. We're still going to get through.
I'm not too concerned with it. I thought Ghana played well. They've done what they had to do. I think we'll comfortably beat Panama.
Left-footed effort has deflected it. It's Harry Kane. He didn't know too much about it, but there is his Panama hat-trick.
For us now, we move on and hopefully finish the group with a win on Saturday.
Yeah, a win would do the world of good for this England side, who, after an unbelievable start, most entertaining second half I've ever seen England put on in any major tournament. From that to the Ghana performance, we're a fickle bunch, aren't we? We're high, we're low, but a win would certainly do England some good. And thanks to the great people at Power League, we were able to chat exclusively with former Liverpool and England striker Emile Heskey. We spoke about some of his former sides, but also the great work he's doing for the five-a-side community. Emile, thanks for speaking to talkSPORT. First of all, you're here at Power League filling in as a World Cup ringer.
Yeah.
You've started for England at a World Cup. How does it compare in the scorchio heat here in London? How does the pressure compare?
Yeah, pressure, a little bit different. It's a bit fun. The heat, pretty similar to 2002. So, yeah, very going to be tough with the heat.
Do you... Now you're retired, do you feel pressure to still sort of stamp your authority on a game and remind people, by the way, I used to play for England, used to play for Liverpool?
No. I just play for fun. I play for fun now. I just have a little bit of a laugh, and that's it really. I don't really get into that stamping authority. No.
I'm impressed because when I play five-a-side, I lose my head, so fair play to you. But I didn't reach the heights you did. Now, in the spirit of five-a-side, I want you to name your best five-a-side team of players that you played with.
Okay. I'll probably go with J-Mo in goal, David James. And then I will go Sol, Rio, Stevie G, Michael up front.
It's not bad, is it? David James didn't let anything go. With those limbs in these small goals, you haven't got a chance.
He's a big lad. He's a big lad.
Now, let's talk England. We all maybe got a bit carried away after that second half performance against Croatia.
Which is always going to happen.
What did you make of that Ghana game? Do you think that maybe people's criticism has gone a bit too far, or can you see where the frustration?
Look, I think you're always going to get frustrations, especially when 45 minutes of a game, especially in the first game, wasn't up to what we believe we should be at, and then you go and see the Ghana game and the frustrations. But what you got to remember, they played very well.
Yeah,
they frustrated us, and you kind of knew that was going to happen. But I still thought we had enough to really trouble them, especially in the wide areas, and we never did that. But then you got to take your hats off to them and playing out their skin. The reality is they came to get 1 point, and they got what they did.
Yeah.
They did everything they needed to do. So you got to take your hat off to them. Now, going into the latter stages, they might have to come out a little bit more, and then you can see what they're really about. But they didn't need to do that against us. We need to go at them.
Yeah, I agree. And you've got to take your hat off to Ghana. The way they defended is absolutely unbelievable. And they've been going through a tough time. They didn't qualify for AFCON for the first time since 2004. Defended like that against England. Fair play. However, Thomas Tuchel's come under a little bit of sort of maybe questions about his squad selection, having Jed Spence at left back, who's right-footed. Would you have done anything differently, or would you like to see Nico O'Reilly?
It would have been a left-footed left back, but he's chosen what he's chosen. He's stuck by that. He's shown time and time again where there's been things that we're like, I'm not sure about that, but he's gone and done it.
Yeah.
He's stuck by it, and it's come off. Jed Spence is a player that is very, very good one-on-one defending.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see that a little bit further in the tournament. Nico's done fantastic. He comes on and nearly scores with the header, So, we shoulda, coulda, woulda. But, even with the wingers, could we have changed them over? I think Madueke, when he went actually on the left wing, he put a really good cross in. Again, you've got to take your hat off to the two fullbacks. They defended well against them both.
Unbelievable. One thing that's fair to say is we know that Tuchel's unflappable. He's not going to be bothered about what punters think. All he wants to do is to get England winning. Going into that Panama game, what do you think we'll see from Thomas Tuchel's England?
I think pretty much more of what we saw in the second half of the first game. I think Panama haven't got anything to play for, so they'll come out possibly wanting to showcase something, and that will leave more gaps for us to exploit. I'm sure Kane will get his goals, and I'm sure we'll have a better performance than we did.
Last thing on England, because you've been in the camp, you know what the pressure's like. Do you think it's changed? Do you think that the public have become more accepting that footballers are human beings and the pressure has an impact?
Look, I think people know that. I think more and more people know that. I think the human side of it is the ability to show what's happening in the camp. We've never been able to see that before.
Yeah.
And I think with Gareth Southgate, he gave us more access to that. So we saw a little bit more of that, and then we were more accepting of that. And you know, sometimes the lads will have to come off social media just to give themselves a little bit of peace. Only during the tournament, we see enough interviews from them. They've got their own social media people and doing the interviews and everything. So we see enough of them. We don't need to. They don't really need to be logging into that.
I said last question on England, but I promised last one.
Go on.
Do you genuinely believe England can win this World Cup?
We can always win World Cups. We can always win tournaments that we go into because we've got great players. You need a bit of luck to make it all come together. Then you've got France and you've got Spain and you've got Messi and then Ronaldo seems like he wants to turn up as well.
Yeah.
So you've got all these factors that are in there. But yeah, definitely we've got goal scorers, we've got creative players. So why not?
Talk to me about Liverpool. Big summer change. Andoni Iraola. How do you feel about that heading into a new season?
I'm excited to see what he actually does and how he does. He's done fantastic at Bournemouth. Very exciting brand of football. He's at a different kettle of fish when it comes to club-wise, where there's a need and there's a must. You need to work hard at Liverpool. You need to win games, and you must get trophies.
Yeah.
So the pressure that comes with that. But I like the brand of football that he plays.
No doubt we've seen it at Bournemouth. I think the big question for Iraola is, can he do it on the big stage?
Exactly.
But he's got Kirkes. You'd imagine there's going to be more signings at the club. If there's one area for Liverpool that you think they really need to strengthen?
I think centre-back, losing Konate was a bit hard to take. And then probably central midfielder as well.
Yeah.
I think you're a bit light in there. But I think centre-back would probably be the biggest one.
Obviously, last season for Liverpool was a difficult. It wasn't the best title defence, let's say. I look at them and I think that was a blip. And with a new manager and new energy, there's nothing to say Liverpool can't challenge for the title.
100%, because when you've seen Slot come in and then that pickup that everyone had, you'd hoping that the same will happen in this one. And having heard from other players that played under Iraola, the intensity that he wants you to play at and the intensity that he wants you to train at is exactly what is needed at Liverpool.
Yeah, it's exciting times for Liverpool. Last thing I want to ask you, because I know you've got connections with Leicester, I know your sons play football, you know, they're in the academy system. We understand that Arsenal have agreed to deal with Leicester for Jeremy Munga. What do you know about him and how highly rated do you think?
No, he's rated very highly. He's only a young lad, was he 16, nearly 17? He's great, exciting. He's a dribbler. He's one of those players that gets you off your seat every time he touches the ball because he wants to do something. He's still only young, so he needs time to mature and understand when to do it, when to not do it. But especially in the England setup, he's rated very, very highly.
One to watch for the future, then.
Yeah, 100%.
Emil, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing you roll back the year, score some bangers. And we'll speak to you soon on talkSPORT.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah, caught up with the brilliant Emil Heskey, who, by the way, Cass, just the loveliest, most humble, kind guy, playing in a Power League five-a-side. Brilliant. It was all a surprise for the team he was playing with. Yeah. And he's still got it, mate. Just solid as a rock. I think Gabs and I, producer Gabs, were only there for a few minutes after because we needed to get home. And he'd already scored 2 goals in about 3 minutes. It was brilliant. But yeah, that's Emil Heskey speaking to us about loads of different things, bit of England, bit of Liverpool, etc. But we did ask him right at the beginning there what his sort of all-time five-a-side team would be. I've got to ask you, Cass, what's your all-timer five-a-side of players you played with?
Barthez in goal.
Yep.
Played with him at Marseille. Paul McGrath. I only need one defender because Paul can handle 2. one of the greatest defenders of all time, I feel, Paul McGrath. An incredible athlete, wins the ball. I'd have in front of him Keane, because again, he's a ball winner but can play the simple things and does it brilliantly well. And then I'd have the gifted Glenn Hoddle, who was my manager and player, alongside him. I think they'd make a great team. And I'd go Sheringham up front.
Sheringham.
Yeah.
What?
Teddy's a great five-a-side player.
Yeah.
He really is. With Hoddle, Sheringham, Keane, McGrath, Barthez, I'd say, well, that would be one hell of a five-a-side
That's not too bad, that.
They'd win the ball. Keane and McGrath would do the dirtier work, and Hoddle and Sheringham would make it all happen.
I mean, it'd be a good five-a-side match, that, against Heskies. What was it? David James, Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand, Michael Owen and Steven Gerrard. That is a decent five-a-side match. I paid to watch that, let me tell you. Now, just a reminder, obviously, England hoping to top the group tonight with a win over Panama, or the Panamanians. And there's no better place to watch it than the talkSPORT fan zone at the SI Warehouse at Villa Park. Gabriel Bonlaho's going to be there tonight, and there's a free pint with every ticket. Head to talksport.com/fanzone now to get your tickets for that one. You're listening to the Weekend World Cup Breakfast Show on talkSPORT. Next up, we're going to look at some of the best bits from this World Cup.
You mentioned him there, right, and about Nico Riley. Now, obviously, the manager made a change because he saw something in Ghana and he thought Spence would have been a better option. But you would have watched Nico week in, week out. Does it faze him, whoever he's playing against, however quick they are, strong they are? Is he just the perfect left back in terms of playing against anyone?
I tell you what is the difference between Nico and Jed Spence. Nico get you a goal. He will get you a ghosting and get you a goal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of Jed Spence. I'm not Tottenham fan. I haven't seen enough of him, so I don't know. But I would, being biased, he'd be the first name on the City team sheet, never alone the England team sheet. So, and when he came on, he had one of the two best chances. So, I wouldn't be quick to drop Nico. He's whatever he might lack as a fullback, he'll give you going forward the other way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And he's fearless. He's fearless on the ball. You know, he can dribble like a midfielder. You know, he's a top player.
Let's sort of move it on to City while staying with England. You are edging closer to a deal for Elliot Anderson. And I said before the window opened, if United could buy one player that would be gettable, it would be Elliot Anderson. I'm not too sure about the price tag. I don't know what that's going to be. I know Forest have already rejected a deal worth about £121 million. Your views on him? You're excited by the prospect of him being a City player?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken much notice of him, to be honest. You know what I mean? He's one of those players that you don't really, he scored against us last season, and he was great. But the price tag, well, silly money for footballers. You know what I mean? Is any footballer worth that amount of money? But looking at him in this World Cup, he looks the real deal to me. He's got a good engine.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Lovely bit of Jimi Hendrix
I was
here.
going to say, it can only be Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm sure you remember last week we mentioned that Ghanaian witch doctor who said he put a curse on Harry Kane, head of England's World Cup clash with Panama. Well, he's back in the Daily Star saying he's lifted the curse. Nana Bonson posted a video online showing himself cutting the ropes off the so-called curse he set on Harry Kane, who he now reckons is going to dazzle in tonight's game against Panama to help the Three Lions top the group. Now, this, of course, this is Jimi Hendrix Voodoo Chili.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that's why.
Do you know what? Maybe, he's got a gut feeling. I could be looking like a right idiot here. So I'm going to say Kane's going to score because England are going to win.
Yeah, well,
it's very likely.
Water's wet, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to score. But I mean, it's an easy win for the witch doctor to say, oh yeah, Kane's going to score against Panama because of me. Well, the curse didn't work, mate. You said you were going to get him injured. All that nonsense.
Imagine having a curse put on you.
Well, I don't believe him, Cass.
No, you don't.
So,
Okay.
No, I don't. No, not from charlatans like that. You seen he was doing the media rounds after. He was on with Piers Morgan and Simon Jordan. I was disappointed that Simon even gave him a moment. Like, gave him his time of day. He's been on everywhere, mate. He's just, he's a charlatan. Mind you, I need to be careful what I say, just in case.
Yeah,
just in case it works.
The curse on Max.
Oh, brilliant stuff. But now it's time to look ahead on high pressure picks with Shaw.
High pressure picks on talkSPORT with Shaw. Non-stop protection deodorant that won't ever let you down.
DR Congo have held Portugal to a 1-1 draw. Cristiano Ronaldo was an absolute passenger.
Really, when you look for goals, you need to have Cristiano on the pitch. It makes no sense to get the best goal scorer in world football out in a game that you need goals.
Bruno Fernandes is on the charge. Ronaldo's ahead of him. Ronaldo inside the box to finish it. He does. It's Ronaldo in the double.
4 points almost guarantee you that you are going to be on the next stage.
Slid it to corner, but used his strength, goes down. And the follow-up shot is deflected in from Munoz. Colombia are through to the last 32. Back-to-back wins for them. They are top of the group.
Lifts it towards the penalty spot. Johan Wisser is there! And DR Congo are level! And it's Wisser!
And the shot goes in, and it's turned in! Uzbekistan has scored their first ever World Cup goal!
Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo, not 19 forever. Don't want reminding of that, does he? But he's back, he says. I'm back after scoring against Uzbekistan. Yeah, well done, mate. Portugal take on Colombia. midnight. Commentary on talkSPORT 2 from Nigel Adderley and former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. Both sides already qualified, Cass. Do you think this is the sort of game, a bit of a dead rubber, where players might get rested? Like, can you see Martinez saying to Ronaldo, I'll give you the time off?
I don't think Ronaldo will want to be left out. I think he'll want to play. And also, they'll try and get top spot, won't they?
Yeah.
Surely.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They currently don't know who their opponents would be if they win the group. So it's a bit of a difficult one. The chances are they'll take on Croatia if Croatia beat Ghana and finish second in the group. So that's a pretty difficult, I think, a difficult fixture. I know they've got an aging midfield. I think they've got an average 38-year-old midfield, Croatia. But that first half performance against England showed what they're capable of. So it's a difficult one to call, really. So, but you think Ronaldo would be rested? Oh, you don't?
No, I don't. I think he'll play. I think they'll try and top the group. It's important you top the group because of obviously who you get afterwards. It's never a guarantee. But I think he'll want to play, and I think he needs to play. I said earlier that I don't think Portugal's best 11 includes Ronaldo.
No.
And I'm not going to even, Uzbekistan result and he scores 2. Yeah, he played well and scored 2. But I don't see that as a challenge for Portugal. Portugal's challenges are going to be the knockout stages. And I don't see, if I look at when they played DR Congo, I did the game. And Wanzabi, who plays for Burnley, who was formerly at Manchester United, he defended brilliantly. Ronaldo couldn't get any change out of him, and Mbemba as well, the other centre-half, really had a comfortable afternoon. Uzbekistan were really, really poor. They lost 5, they could have been 7, 8. They were a really poor side. So I'm not judging him on that. I'm going to judge him when they get into the knockout stages.
Where do you stand on this Ronaldo-Messi debate that's been raging, particularly in this World Cup? Because we've seen Messi, I think he's on 5 goals. he's been unbelievable, rolling back the years if he even needed to. Whereas Ronaldo, particularly against Congo, looked well out of it. Wasn't moving. Yeah. So, I mean, do you think the debate is settled that it's always been Messi's better than Ronaldo, or do you think we're just seeing that?
Look, it's not. It's only people's opinion who they think, whatever one they go for, whether it's Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. In my opinion, I would always put Lionel Messi above Ronaldo, as in, a player that he has been over the years. And yes, he played a long time at Barcelona. He didn't go so well at PSG, but he's an incredible footballer. He's won the World Cup. He could end up having 2 World Cups and go even above the likes of Diego Maradona, who is the god of Argentinian football. When you have the experience of going to watch World Cups live, Max, is if you go to an Argentina game, it's literally everybody wears a Messi shirt. It really is incredible. And likewise, Portugal have a huge amount of following for Ronaldo. But I just think Ronaldo, obviously, he's a couple of years older than Lionel Messi. But I do think he's not even close. And why should he be at 40, 41? Why should he be even that type of player? Now, he was an incredible youngster, but I look at a forward that I don't think will give, let's take good World Cup teams, I don't think he'll give them problems.
Yeah. I think that Ronaldo's presence in that starting 11 in the knockout rounds will limit Portugal's chances in this World Cup. Their midfield is one of the best in the World Cup, but I can't see them really doing it against the bigger teams with Ronaldo up top, because he doesn't move.
No, I'd agree. I'd totally agree with that, because his movement hasn't been great. And now everyone will look at Uzbekistan and he might say he's back. What I saw in the first game is something that I saw in Dublin last September against Ireland, where he was non-existent, got red carded, and Portugal win games anyway. With or without Ronaldo. Yeah. They've got enough quality in that team. I think he hurts them more, especially against the better teams.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, well, we'll see how they get on against Colombia. Good side, good players at midnight live on talkSPORT. That was a look ahead with Shaw, non-stop protection deodorant that won't ever let you down.
High pressure picks on talkSPORT with Shaw, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
All right, coming up next, we've been waiting all morning for this. We're going to be joined by Queen Scotland herself, Shabana Hearn.
I just think our options, like we bring O'Reilly on, he gets the header in the box late on. You start putting bodies in the box against these low defensive block teams. Like it was calling out for Tony to come on for me, get more bodies in the box, because we had players come on, put more crosses in the box. Saka come on and made an impact, I thought. But I just think Saka and Rashford has to start.
He's got to take the skipper off if he does. So that was John Terry, sitting exactly where Sam is this morning. This clamour for Rashford, you've got a view on that, haven't you?
Well, I just don't remember the last time Rashford started a game for England was particularly impactful. It's always the way, whatever you haven't got is what you cry out for when you don't get the outcomes that you want. The main thrust of England's game was they didn't fizz the ball around. If you move the ball quickly, you move people around. And it was interesting that they put Saka on, which I think makes a lot of difference when he comes on, because he's a clever player, he creates outcomes. And the numbers that he throws out on the field are quite staggering when he's actually on the field. And then he shifted Madueke dugout side so that the coach could be in his ear driving him forward. I think the other thing, I think Rashford comes on as an impact player. If you're playing the last 20 minutes of a game and Rashford comes on with a wild hair up his backside because he hasn't been in the side, he's been replaced by Anthony Gordon at Barcelona and England and wants to play, which is the Rashford that we've got now. Tragically, for a boy of his talent, he's a consequence player. Every time he does something that gets him consequence, he responds to it. He doesn't play well for a season. The England team need him to be available for the next World Cup. He has a good season. He goes away, gets himself into trouble by not turning up for a training session, gets consequence. The next 3 games, he plays very well. So I don't think Rashford starting is the answer. I think...
When you think about some of the stadiums that have hosted games in the World Cup, sometimes it's hard not to be completely overawed. But what's the biggest? One thing we have to be clear about is that older stadiums will have had higher capacities when it was standing only. A good example of this is the old Wembley. For the final in '66, the capacity was 125,000. But that was later reduced to 100 when it was converted into an all-seater in 1990. Another example is this, Mexico City's Estadio Azteca. Back in '86, it's estimated around 115,000 people watched Argentina beat West Germany to win their second World Cup. Essential modernisation so it could be used in the 2026 tournament reduced it to 83,000. You can't talk about old stadiums with high capacities without mentioning Brazil's Maracanã. Some say the jewel in football's crown. In the 2014 World Cup, its capacity stood at just under 79,000. But back in 1950, well, it wasn't official, but estimates believe 210,000 people came to this place for a winner-takes-all match between Brazil and Uruguay. That's still the world record attendance for a live football match, and let's be honest, it's not likely to be beaten anytime soon.
This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast Show on talkSPORT. I'm Max Scott and I've got former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino alongside me. The song that you're listening to is Never Can Say Goodbye. Now, we're playing this because we've got a very, very special guest coming up. But first, here's what's happening on talkSPORT today. So from 10 a.m, we've got Max Rushton and Charlie Baker with the warm-up. Then the World Cup Weekender with Jim White and Alex Crook from 1 p.m. Jim White on a Saturday doesn't happen often, so tune in. And then Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy are on with the World Cup Game Day live from 4 p.m. Building up to the big game tonight, England v Panama. And a GOAT, Adrian Durham, the voice of football, chief football anchor here at talkSPORT. He's presenting live commentary of Panama versus England. The build-up from 8 p.m, kick-off at 10. Remember, every single World Cup game is live on the talkSPORT network. Be sure to keep it talkSPORT so you never miss a thing this summer. Now, the Scotland fans captured the imagination of North America with unbelievable antics, unbelievable support. One of the best things about this World Cup. But let's be honest, the players on the pitch certainly failed to live up to the standard set by the fans. We need a miracle for Scotland at this point to qualify for the round of 32. Let's get more on this now with the Weekend Breakfast's very own Shabana Hearn, talkSPORT Scotland correspondent, the Queen of Scotland, the Queen of Vibes in Scotland. Shaban, so good to have you on. How you doing?
Hi, Max. Hi, Tony. Yeah, good morning to you from back home. I'm on the same time zone as you now. I've flown in early just to get a couple of days and wonder where we're going next. But like you say, it's looking like we need a miracle to be heading back out there, guys.
Tony's just sorting his ears out. He can't hear anything at the minute. But I've got to ask you, how does it feel to win the prize for best fans?
Yeah, that's a given though. Like, that is a given. We knew we were getting that. We are a good fan base.
It's like me getting award for the tallest in the office.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that. It's that straightforward for you, Max. I do think that they were absolutely brilliant. I was actually playing in the kitchen this morning to the kids, the Scotland playlist kind of thing. I had you guys on and you were talking about Scotland. I put on the Scotland playlist for the kids. You know, Nick Morgan, you know, got John McGinn and Rob out in the wing. And I was singing and dancing with them in the kitchen. And my daughter's going, I still want England to win. And I was like, shut.
Good girl.
Shaban, have you got a swimming pool at home?
I have a swimming pool, Cass. How much do you think I'm making, man? That's why I'm up with you at 4 in the morning on a weekend.
You should do. After your performance, you need to be getting 200% pay rise. It's been unbelievable.
I've got to ask you first, Shaban. I sense your disappointment in listening to Steve Clark, and I wanted to ask you, you've come back and you've sort of come home and you're reflecting, and some of the things that Steve said, I just didn't quite get, and I felt that he flipped the coin. He changed the agenda for me on the way Scotland had done and how much the players had done to get all the fans over there by winning their games. I felt it just didn't sound right.
Yeah, no, it was really disappointing, wasn't it? And actually, Cass, getting ready, I was thinking, I need to ask Cass when you played with him at Chelsea, was he like that? Was he like that then? Has this always been his demeanour? Because what I've seen of him over the last, say, 5 years of us getting us to major tournaments is obviously he's not going to change for anyone. And I like that. You know, you're unapologetically yourself, but you do have duties. You know, you have duties to speak to the media. And I've seen people say in the media, you know, these coaches don't owe the media anything. I'm like, no, that's where you're wrong. That is in the contract. That's an obligation. Yeah. That's why the press are there. We're not invited there for the good of our health, to get a freebie and watch a game. We are there to speak to these people and bring that insight back to a fan base. And yeah, I think Steve, he just wasn't good in those post matches, and I think he let himself down ever so slightly. He might not say it that way, but I just thought it was so poor.
To be honest, Shaban, there's a piece in the Daily Mail that actually has a go, and the atmosphere wasn't good in the Scotland camp. And I mean, look, you're around it. We don't know, but it was the, you know, the doom and gloom of Scotland, you know, in the camp. And did you sense that, Shaban?
Well, I mean, this sounds a little bit, it's not about me, but I'm there, so this is my personal experience of it. It was easy enough for me to come home for those few days than stay around it, because it did seem that little bit miserable and a little bit like we've got this vibrant fan base. I'd rather be with the fans. You'd rather stay in Miami and cling on to the fan base that have stayed around and celebrating and making a holiday of this trip to the World Cup. You would rather stayed in Boston. But yeah, no, it feels like I didn't enjoy the atmosphere then. And you obviously, you're trying to do your job. You're trying to speak to as many people as you can. And if people don't want to talk to you, that's absolutely fine. You know, that is fine. But I think from what we did see, from who he did speak to, it just came across as misery guts. You know, it's a brilliant fan base, and your bottom lip's tripping you. You know, you're at the World Cup. What's the problem? You know, and then I think, well, I sit and think to myself, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Is it hard for him? You know, you don't know everything. You think you do, but you don't. And yeah, I wanted to see a little bit more energy, considering, you know, as you said, we'll need a miracle to still get through. But you want to hear that from the manager, not we're going home, you know. And then, by the way, he's right about the defence. He's right about that. You know, if you look at the results, we got what we should have expected. You know, I expected more against Haiti. We didn't get that. That's where we could have saved ourselves, right? But Morocco were absolutely sensational to watch. And I actually think, aside from that first 70 seconds, we were okay. And that's where we could have nicked a point, right? That would have been brilliant. Brazil, they're right to walk all over us. And actually, it could have been worse. So I think the results are what we should have expected, apart from Haiti. And we're in this position because, you know, we can't live up to the expectation, and we can't live up to our fan base. You know, we just can't.
Do you think there's a bit of an ambition problem within the culture of the Scotland camp? Because you look at what Cape Verde have achieved. 3 draws. They've got obviously much better goal difference. They're through. Absolutely historic for such a small nation. Scotland are also a small nation, but they're a small nation with established players playing in top European clubs. And it seems to me, from the cut of Steve Clark's jib, you know, saying, well, look at Brazil's forwards compared to ours. If I'm a player, That's the last thing I want to hear. I
No,
want to see
it's
my
not.
manager
Yeah.
say, yeah, it might be Brazil, but they're not what they once used to be. Look at us. Look at the fan base behind us. Look at you, Lawrence Shankland's bagging goals for Hearts, all season. You've got your big move to Rangers. Let's get under their skin. It doesn't feel to me. It feels to me like maybe that Steve Clark's let Scotland down by not having the ambition that he should have.
Maybe there's a bit of that, Max. Like, I feel when I look at Cape Verde, we could have done a bit of that.
Yeah.
Because they played with heart and passion and fight. And I don't think we played with that in our games. Maybe we were a little bit lying down to the opposition ever so slightly. I thought we had bigger character on the pitch. And maybe we're just not ready for it. Maybe there's a reason that we've not been there for 28 years. I think from those players on the pitch, Shankland's one of them. And you can't expect then him to just make it all right. He was feeding off of scraps kind of thing. I think Shankland did deserve to be on the pitch. I would have started him in the first 2 games as well.
Yes.
And the 2 with Shea Adams, I think that would have worked a bit better. But then we're all an expert after the event. Steve Clark's the guy. He's the boss. He got us here. So you trust in what he is doing. I know I did anyway, but I think the mood could have been a little bit more reflective of the journey that we were on, that we were at a World Cup and everyone was buzzing, and the atmosphere, honestly, in America was unreal. I got on a plane yesterday and the captain's shouting out the Tartan Army and everyone's still cheering and we look like we're all heading home.
Yeah.
So I think if Steve had brought a little bit more charisma in those moments, maybe we'd be feeling a little bit different right now. No, we're not. Was he always like that, Cass? Was he always that?
Steve, I said to you before you left, Shaban, that Steve is not someone who gets that high or that low. He's more pragmatic. I would probably be careful with my words, but I did know him. I was there for a couple of years with Steve, and he just wasn't that guy that would be ultra positive about anything. He wasn't that.
It's funny because I actually enjoyed listening to his first couple of press conferences, and he was asked about it countless times. What is it that's different about him this time? Because he did come into camp with a really smiley energy, and I felt that was something he was working on, that he was maybe trying to be a little bit more on the side of the media. All these players go through media training to the point that some of them have lost their entire personality when they sit down in front. It's all like, oh, they're waiting to catch us out. Like, what? I know I'm not waiting to catch anyone out. I'm just there for a good time, So when you're having these conversations with people and they're frosty at you and they're spiky, it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, there's a difference between not changing for people or not wanting to give people what they want, and a difference between rude. And I think as we ended our campaign there, or it looks like it's ended, you ended looking like a rude man. When you've got this fan base who are being appreciated everywhere they go for being lovely and polite and bubbly and happy, and then you're a reflection of that on the big screen. When it comes to these moments, and listen, personality all aside, he's done a brilliant job. I do. I really, really like Steve Clark, and be whoever you want to be. But there are moments where I think you need to just sober up a little bit. I don't know if you guys know that. Just sober up and front into it, and just give us something to think about on our way home. Give us some positivity instead of that negative energy, pure vacuuming up any sort of positivity left in the group. I'll suck it out of you. Like, it is deflating. It's like moodhoover.com.
He signed a contract extension before the World Cup. Has the mood changed much amongst Scotland fans, the Tartan Army? And do you think that's enough to sway the Scottish FA to maybe look elsewhere?
No, I think everybody who we spoke to, everyone at the airport, we were out speaking to fans the morning after the game, were disappointed with this post-match. They all said that that wasn't a good look, and it'd be nice to hear from them and reassure us and whatever like that, or just offer a little bit more insight instead of, I don't want to do this, why am I doing this, and storming off on people. Everybody did agree on that kind of thing. There is a lot of frustration and passion and emotion when you're at a World Cup, I would imagine, and it looks like we're being sent home. You can understand why he feels that way as well. A lot of fans felt like that, but he's a guy. You want to hear the reassurance or the words of encouragement from him, and it's certainly not there. No. It's not there at all. No. It's like, okay, then we'll all head home. If that's what you're saying, or if that's how you're making people feel after that. And he's dead right, man. It doesn't look like we can stay in at this point. It really, really doesn't. But I think the SFA will stand by him, and I think they should stand by him. I think some of the players could maybe look at their performances and go, okay, what do I need to do differently if we get another opportunity at this? Because our big guys like McTominay, he kind of has gone missing again. You know, maybe he's absolutely battered. It's long seasons. It's a lot of football. The conditions, by the way, in Miami were ridiculous. I mean, I know it's hot here
We
right
had that,
now.
Shaban. That's exactly what we played in Florida. And we had exactly the same problems.
Cass, it was
I just wanted to ask you, Shaban, because I know anyone dares you, you're probably more likely to do it. But when I saw the clip that Max we watched earlier of you jumping in the pool, without me knowing what you did, I was like, I know you're going to jump in.
That was classic.
I know you're going to. You love the dare.
I know they were like, oh, just jump in. I was like, go on then, dare me, try me. And I was melting, I was cooking, and it was 7 a.m, and the Miami sun was blazing on my face, and I thought, I'm getting in there. That mama's going in, fully clothed. I'm getting in that pool. And I was raging because then that was my outfit ruined for the day. It didn't dry in enough time.
Shaban, you've been the star of the show away in the States. It's been class. Now
I didn't do anything. I just had a good time.
Just jumping in pools, singing songs, but it's worked. Now, before we let you go, Cass has got a bone to pick with the national anthem. Take it away, Cass.
Well, it's to do with the national anthem. Shaban, we're Flower of Scotland, and I'm going to pick a few words. I'm not going to say it all, but when will thee see the like again? Okay, and that's proud Edward's army and sent him homeward to think again, right? So it's all the proud and brave stuff. They stood against him, proud Edward's army. Yeah. Those days are past now. In the past they must remain. And I'm thinking, everything that's brave about Scotland, that wasn't the team out in America.
I know our anthem and the fans were the best bit. We didn't live up to it. You know,
and that is for me why Scotland should be Scotland. You know, be a proud team and be a brave team. Because that's what I feel. It's like having the emblem on a shirt, you know, and you go, that's what we stand for. But I didn't feel Scotland did that in this.
And is that a reflection then of how they're being taught? Is that a reflection of how they're being coached or the way that they're being asked to be? I mean, because these players, from what I know and what I see, when they play for club, a lot of them are that very proud, and, you know, strong. And so why are they putting on that shirt? Why are we going to a World Cup and going into ourselves?
Well, you weren't proud Stevie's army, were you?
No, we weren't.
He's digging a knife in here, Cass. Crikey, she just got back.
I think you're right. I mean, I said this to Jamie last night, watching the France-Norway game. I did. I don't think we offered enough on the pitch to be the Scots that you should be inferior of, or that you should be, I don't know, a little bit nervy to go up against, because our fan base are amazing. But I mean, Morocco would have been looking at the Haiti game and going, okay, cool, we'll win this. Brazilians are looking at the Morocco game and going, what the hell happened there inside 70 seconds? We'll target them, and they did again. You know, so they just didn't show that personality. I think anytime Kieran Tierney played, he showed the most experience and leadership and composure. I thought Ben Gannon-Doak rose to the occasion, not maybe in the last game, but it's Brazil, so we'll give him a moment of a pass on that. But I think our big guys didn't really step up to the play. I mean, I was sitting there, I was pitch side watching it and wondering, why aren't they doing what we thought that they were capable of doing? You know, what's happened? Why are they playing with this calm, soft approach? Get stuck in, as we say in Scotland, get in about them. And we didn't get in about anyone. Yeah,
you've hit the nail on the head without a doubt.
We get in about the beer, and that was it.
Well, yeah, you drank Boston Dry. Happy days. But no, you're absolutely right. And I think rousing speech from Cass there, you know, didn't reflect the Scotland that we know they should be. But without a doubt, you and the Tartan Army have been unbelievable, Shaban. And, you know, miracles can happen. So you might be back out there. Are your flights booked?
No, I'll wait and see what happens. Right. Because we might be in Mexico, we might be in Boston, we might be in New York. So this is this limbo period of waiting, and it's so out of our hands. Right. So I feel for the guys. Shaban. I feel for the guys sitting in Charlotte, getting the life sucked out of them there.
You'll be in England, don't worry. You won't be going back.
Cass, man, you're cutthroat today. Can't wait to get back.
You're not going to be going
Sort you out.
Shaban, absolutely amazing. Thanks so much, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Shaban. Good to talk to you. See you again soon. Come on, Scotland.
That is our very own Weekend Breakfast, Shaban Ahern. You're listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast Show. Up next, Cascarino, yes or Cascarino?
Ronaldo is top, still top. But Haaland, for instance, is a better finisher.
Let me ask you this. In world football, I said this, Bentley, on yesterday's show, and I got a little bit of criticism. In his pomp, right? I'll ask you both. I'll start with Bentley.
I heard it.
I said R9 is a better finisher than Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, do you know,
he's a better striker, number 9.
No, do you know what you said, right? And you said he was a better goal scorer.
Okay.
Right? Now, for me, R9 is a better centre forward. Like, so I don't think it's even close, right? But what people will do is look at the numbers. And this is where sometimes stats-wise, like the new generation will go, if I say R9's better than Ronaldo, Cristiano, they're going to go, are you crazy? He's scored 1,000 goals. But sometimes it's not about just stats. It's about what does your eyes tell you. And anyone who's watched it, you would have watched him. R9 is the best centre forward I've ever seen.
R9, for me, that's my hero. You know, he is... That's why I wanted to become a striker. You look at him and... Ronaldo has done absolutely magnificent, yeah? And Ronaldo, it's all about numbers and goal scoring. And he's obsessed with that. And that makes him so good. But R9 is just phenomenal. He's just incredible.
Better.
As a footballer,
you
much
both
more
agree with
natural.
me on that.
Yeah, but you said, because the way you said goal scorer.
Yeah.
Now, you can't compare the numbers because Ronaldo's numbers are crazy.
You know what I mean? Like a better player.
He's a better player.
Yeah.
He's a better player. He's the things that he used to do, picking up the ball and dribbling, the goals that he scored for Barcelona.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Yeah, good morning. This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast Show here on talkSPORT. Now, last section, last 10 minutes, got Max Scott and Tony Cascarino, man who's been at 2 World Cups. And a big headline today coming out of the England camp is that Bukayo Saka is set to start for the first time against Panama, which of course is live on talkSPORT this evening. Here's talkSPORT's England correspondent Faye Carruthers with all the latest from camp.
Good morning, you two. I hope you're well. It's been super busy in New York City since we landed. Straight to match day -1 activities, a brilliant look around and look at my pitchside position, which is incredible. MetLife Stadium isn't great from the outside, but looks pretty impressive from the inside. Had a good chat with Thomas Tuchel and with Mark Gahey, who were put up for media duties ahead of the game against Panama. And since then, it's been confirmed, of course, that England have qualified for the last 32. It's just where we finish in the group now, and that is going to depend on whether we win this game against Panama. Interesting thoughts from Thomas Tuchel regarding Reece James in particular, who didn't train on Friday, and we know that he's going to miss the game against Panama, albeit he has travelled with the squad at least, and we don't know how long he's potentially going to be missing for, with a minor, as Thomas Tuchel explains it, hamstring problem. He was really coy on how many changes he was going to potentially make, whether he would go the way that many big teams have done and rest players. He wanted to make it more of a balance. You know, he can understand the benefit of doing that. The big question, obviously, is whether Jarell Quansah starts at right back, which we think he may do. Sat down and had a great chat with him the other day, and he would love to make his tournament debut for sure. And then whether Marcus Rashford starts on the left, and Bukayo Saka is fit enough to start. It's just whether or not they decide to risk him or not. And then, of course, he says everybody else is fit. Whether they rest Declan Rice or decide to play him and let him continue with the momentum, we shall wait and see. But a big game ahead, and of course England really need to try and show a decent performance and try and break down the low block that seems to cause them so many problems. But looking forward to the game.
Faker Others, England, talkSPORT's England correspondent, giving us a bit of an update there. Cass, do you think Tuchel should make a few changes, whether it's Kobbie Mainoo in midfield? Of course, he's going to be forced into some at right back with Reece James out, but do you think he should make a few changes, freshen it up a bit?
Well, if Saka's available, I'd absolutely play Saka in. I think he's by far, for me, the best of the wingers that is at Thomas's obviously disposal. So, yes, one there. After that, not so sure. Obviously, the right back area is one that he has to find a solution to. Whether it's going to be, Jed Spence filling at right back, that's fine. He can do that job. Yeah. I don't think they need too much change. I would like to see Morgan Rogers on the left because he's done it so well for Villa. I think that's his best position. That means then he can have Morgan Rogers not as a natural winger, but more of a left-sided that can come in the centre of the pitch and sometimes set up with Bellingham and Kane. I do think that I would want to give Morgan Rogers time on the pitch as well.
Absolutely. It's a reminder, that one's live on talkSPORT, presented by Adrian Durham, 10 p.m. That's all from us today, Cass.
Went really quick and
it's flown by. Yeah, absolute belter. Reminder, we're going to be back tomorrow from 6 a.m. None of those too early kickoffs because it's the end of the group stages. Reacting to that huge game for England. Are we going to see the England from the second half against Croatia, or are we going to see the England that we saw against Ghana? It's all to play for against Panama. But up next, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Charlie Baker.
Listen, I love him. And people have asked me, would I take him at Arsenal? 100%. But you look at the last two seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last two seasons for PSG, the two Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out, they win back-to-back. It just doesn't look well on Mbappe, does it?
You could say that he's responsible for that. But in the meantime, when you see what Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager, has changed, the way the team has changed, the unity, everybody is playing for each other, they're fighting for each other, on the pitch. And that's why, in every team they have met, they're beating because of that. They have the quality, but they show, real mentality, unity all together, the togetherness, But Kylian Mbappe, I think I won't be the guy who will say that he's the one responsible for the mess at Madrid. I think if you have Mbappe in your team,